Hey, you crazy cats! 42's live streams and videos are simply not available on vinyl. You will have to go to the YouTubes for that. So if you want content about British traditions and culture, cutting edge social commentary from an unapologetically patriotic perspective, along with a side order of madness you simply will not find anywhere else, then this is the place for you. And to all those early adopters in the chat, don't forget to hit the notification bell. That's how you get the good stuff and make sure you never miss a tasty treat. So with that being said and done, squeeze yourself in. Let's get into it. You know you want to. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Please delete as applicable because the internet is worldwide and time zones are a thing. Let's remove that. Oh yes, right, that looks better now. And can I get an audio check in the chat, please? And I'll say some hellos while I'm doing that. Dave's Waffle House was the first one in. All right. Uncle Skin, Slim, Stevie Craze here, Anglo, Even Brother. Ha! Did we not cover this last year? Yes, we did. I'm going to come back to why we're doing it again this year, because there's fun and games afoot. Even limit, yes, it does happen every year, but I had said that I'm not going to do last year's content this year, but this stream is a little bit different. Sansam's not here. October's in. What about you, brother? Hashtag Linda Hunter from Down Under. Rory Herbert. Audio Proper Strongman. All good. Ludwig. Al Max knocking about. Funny you mention that. The exact same show notes are being used, Al Mac, and I will get into that. Carol, glad to have you aboard. Streaky Bacon, what about you, chum? I'm the Ludwig. And Sally's in. That's pretty much everybody. Will pick up anybody else as they arrive. Now, and Steve Craze choking on chili pepper. That's not good. NHP, National Housing Party, United Kingdom TV. What about you, chum? Right. Yes. Actually, I will do the housekeeping first. Then I'll get on it. Bass, evening, chum. Just get the show notes up. Right. On Sunday, slightly earlier time of 6 p.m. Actually, I believe that's wrong. I believe it's back to 7 o'clock, I think. But keep an eye out on the time for regular Iron Spears channel. You'll have Jack on, and they have the Angry Bootnik. So that should be a good show. John Davison normally streams at 9 p.m. on Tuesdays and Fridays, as and when he feels up to it. And watch out for the odd pop-up stream because he pulled one of them out of the air. And the other show I like to give a shout out to is Dave's Waffle House. Pretty much every weeknight from 30. Forgot that there. Nice chilled out stream. Basically talk shit with a chat. It's very friendly. It's all good. So get yourself down for that if you're free. And we've got more people have come in. Byrne, what about you, chum? Ludwig. Field Marshal's back with our other one. And yes, Steve's Waffle House is totally lurking. He's on the lurker. Did I see Aunt Sally? and Sally's in. I might have done that one twice. Nah, that's said and done. Uh, I did a stream this time last year on the Gunpowder Plot and about the. Yes, I did. And about the Bonfire on Lewis and the stuff they do to mark the martyrs who were burnt at the stake. And I also talked a bit about Movember, the Movember Foundation, and then I went on to talk about a then I went on to talk about a very insidious thing called No Nut November, which encourages men to not orgasm throughout the month of November, which is bad for their health. Everybody should know this, that not clearing out your pipes is one of the causes of testicular cancer. And YouTube took a bit of an affliction to that. And they said that the link that I provided to it on Wikipedia included not nudity. No, it doesn't. And they removed the fucker. And they gave me it's not a strike. They gave me a thing called a warning, which is what you get before you've had any strikes. I had to do a bit of training, click a few buttons, and that will go off in 90 days. So it's not a major problem. But the reason why I do this is to have a record of our traditions available on video, and this stuff's now no longer available on video. So we're doing it again this year. The only good thing about it is it'll happen at the right time of year for me to replace it. And the other thing that's led to is I had got out of the way. Anglo, that's exactly it. You got to get rid of that dirty dishwater. Yep. So I had got out of the way of uploading my streams to Bitchute as a Federal Reserve of content, as I say. So I'm going to get back to doing that. I'm going to get all the backdated ones on as well. So there'll be 2 streams going on to Bitchute a week going forward for a while. So there you go. That's why we're getting a stream that you may have heard all the information from last year. But before we get into it, I've got a question for you all. Stick in the chat what you think Guy Fawkes did. It's not a trick, it's not a trap. I just want to see what your answers are. And we'll see. We'll do that again at the end of the stream, and we'll see if they're the same or different. So it's a really easy question. What is Guy Fawkes famous for? And you can start putting that in the chat. And while you're doing that, oh, sorry, right. Why is Budgie Burger getting a C? What has Budgie done? All right, he's telling everybody being good behavior because Aunt Sally's here. Oh, he was involved in the Gunpowder Plot. Guy Fawkes was the person from the right. James Hayworth is saying failing to destroy the Houses of Parliament. plotting to blow up the Houses of Parliament. Steve Craig just realised he's 5 minutes behind. Roy Herbert, yes, that's exactly what he did. He was trying to kill King James I. It just so happened that the place where he knew King James I was going to be was inside the Houses of Parliament. Had he knew King James was going to be somewhere, yes, and popery. He did a lot of popery. Yes, but not very well. They total school. Real Vincent Griffin is all over it. He got caught guarding explosives at the basement in the Palace of Westminster in a treasonous Catholic plot. Would you actually have quite a good the reason why I asked it is most people say that he was trying to blow up the House of Parliament, which is sort of what he was doing, but that's only because that's where the king was. And had he been able to blow up the king at the king's carp lake when he knew where he'd be there, that's where he would have done. Anyway, before we get into all that madness, I'm going to start with the poem of the week. This is not one that I've written this week. I've dragged an old one out. All of the poems this month will be on issues that affect men and boys because we're also into Movember. This one's called The Game Changer. Also has the Movember Muse brackets. If you go on to my All Poetry page and you type in Movember Muse, it'll give you all the ones that are for Movember. Got a picture of people playing British Bulldogs. In year 4 of primary school, the uniform changed from shorts to long trousers, and we, the biggest children in the small playground, became the smallest children in the big playground. Culture shock would be an understatement. The boys in year 7, the oldest in the school, were in the ascendancy. The sight and sound of them charging as a herd was at first intimidating to an 8-year-old. By year 5, this practice was intriguing. To a 9-year-old, one stood in the middle, another called him to attempt to pass. If he succeeded, the herd charged, and he that stood alone attempted to grab one. Those caught stayed in the middle. The herd dwindled until one lone charger made his doomed attempt. By year 6, a 10-year-old was anxious to be part of the game, to pit his wit and strength against others. The boys, unsurprisingly, wanted to be boisterous. In year 7, we formed our lines, we charged as one, our feet sounded like thunder. Unbridled joy at reaching safety was cut short by a shrill whistle. The principal stood in the playground, his silver hair and pipe in hand. He bellowed, "This game is banned." Then turned on his heel and left. In Belfast, 1977, the way boys played was designated wrong. So there we go. That is the poem of the week. There's Misty Words in. I'm pretty glad they were caught. I don't really want the Catholic king. It was. Silver hair was being her older brother. Nice one, Steve. I like that. Right. Now, let's get this show on the road. Need to delete that. So we'll get our first bit of content up about the Gunpowder Plot. Share screen. There we go. I just check picture of the conspirators. I'm just going to check how this looks on the screen. And that's all looking good. It was a bit after that because my sister did O levels and I did GCSEs. So I'm going to say it was 78, 79, 90, or 80, 80, 81, I think. I thank you, Mr. Cray. Don't worry, we'll like Catholics in here. You're fine. You're allowed to be in here, Trish. It's all good. What was Byrne asking you? Yeah. No, it's, Byrne, what we're doing here is trying to ensure that people have got a proper grasp of our history and fix the faults of our educational system that doesn't teach it correctly. Yeah, it probably was. And around that it began to change. And the other thing is, it could be all changed in England before it changed in Northern Ireland. Right. Gunpowder Plot. On the 5th of November 1605, a secret plot to blow up the British Parliament on the opening day and kill both King James I and as many members of Parliament as possible was discovered and stopped. An anonymous letter that tipped off the advisor to the king made it possible to stop the planned mass murder from happening, and the perpetrators were captured and tried and then executed for treason. The historical event is known as the Gunpowder Plot because of the 36 barrels of gunpowder found in the basement of Parliament building. The gunpowder intended to be used in a massive and deadly explosion. So, what's the history around it? In 1603, after Britain's Queen Elizabeth I dies, her cousin, James IV of Scotland, takes the throne and the title of King James I. Although James is a Protestant, he is also the son of a devout Catholic, Mary, Queen of Scots. So Catholics are hopeful that the king will be more sympathetic towards them than his predecessor. Nobody's ever really explained to me how they were hard done by. They have a long history of saying poor me, but never explaining what the actual problem is. But in early 1604, the king shows that his loyalties belong solely to the Church of England by ordering all Catholic priests to leave the country. Well, they might have a point there, because you're not going to have your religion without your priests. Going even further, he continues the practice of imposing fines on Catholics who refuse to attend the Church of England services, because back then we still had a national church. Meanwhile, Catholic Robert Catesby, whose father had been persecuted for their religion during Elizabeth's reign, met with his cousin Thomas Winthrop and John Wright to begin plotting the attempt to kill James I. And the reason why they wanted to kill him was they wanted to put in a Catholic king. As part of the plan, Winter goes to the Spanish-ruled Flanders to ask for Spain's support in their effort, but is turned down because Spain wants peace with England and refuses to help the plotters. While he is in Flanders, Winter meets and recruits fellow Englishman Guy Fawkes, who is an explosive expert and a mercenary. So basically, Guy Fawkes will fight for whoever the fuck is going to pay him. But Fawkes is also a Catholic convert, so always the worst type convert, and has been fighting with the Catholic army in Spain against the government. So he's an old-handed trying to overthrow governments. Meanwhile, in England, more anger towards James is stirred up when he and the Parliament rule that Catholics no longer have the right to make wills or receive rent. That was probably a bad idea. Fawkes and Winter returned to England to meet with Catesby, Thomas Percy, and John Wright. It is these five men who will form the core of the rebellious group and who swore a religious oath of secrecy. With help from the influential and zealous Fawkes, 8 more conspirators join the effort. The conspirators devise a plan to blow up the House of Lords on the opening day and to begin a popular uprising that will eventually restore the throne to a Catholic monarch. So basically, he's going, this is how we started. This is going to be the first day of the whole overthrowing the monarchy. The people will rise up and will change the king by violence. Right, and at this point, I'm going to have a quick look in the chat. Sorry, just checking the chat. Little Wing, what about you, chum? Right. Around 1604, unaware that Thomas Percy is plotting against the throne, his patron, the Earl of Northumberland, secures Percy a position as a royal bodyguard. Percy moves into a house close to Parliament, accompanied by Guy Fawkes, who poses as his servant and goes by the name John Johnson. Because of Percy's new position, he and Fawkes are able to move around Parliament easily without any suspicion being aroused. At the time, Robert Catesby, the newcomer, Robert Keys, cousin of both Winter and Wright, began to obtain and store gunpowder in Catesby's house, which is across the river from Parliament. The plotters dispersed from the summer after it's announced that the opening of Parliament has been postponed until February. When they come back together in October, they begin digging a tunnel from underneath Percy's house to the House of Lords. Once again, the opening of House of Lords is postponed, this time due to fears about the plague. It is rescheduled for October 1605. In March 1605, the tunnellers are able to stop their labour-intensive tunnelling efforts because Thomas Percy manages to rent the cellar directly beneath the House of Lords. Still posing as Percy's servant, Guy Fawkes attends the cellar and the 36 barrels of gunpowder that have been moved there from their storage spot at Catesby's house. The barrels of gunpowder are hidden under piles of coal and wooden sticks, which are legitimately intended to be used for fuel during the winter. The conspirators need more money to support the armed uprising that they plan for after the explosion of Parliament. Catesby's cousin, Francis Tysham, helps them, as does wealthy Ambrose Rickhood. The uprising in the Midlands is supposed to be led by Sir Edward Digby, who is a Catholic convert, again with the converts. Father Henry Gunnoth, the head of the Jesuit mission in England, learns of the plot in the confessional and tries unsuccessfully to persuade Catesby to give the plan up. Meanwhile, the opening of Parliament is pushed back yet again, this time until November. The lengthy time between the start of the plot and the actual opening of the Parliament gives some of the plotters time to have second thoughts about what they are involved in, especially since there will be Catholics present in Parliament on the opening day, and that means Catholic casualties. The one thing I have learned about growing up in Northern Ireland during the Troubles is the Irish Republican Army give no fucks whatsoever about Catholic collateral damage. In fact, the Irish Republican Army murdered more Catholics than they did Protestants. And that's not talking about British soldiers having to be Protestant or Catholic. That's out of the actual civilian population. But there you go. Sometimes it's sometimes it's a very old story. 10 days before the scheduled November the 5th opening date, Francis Tresham, brother-in-law Lord Monteagle, is delivered an on-signed letter that warns him not to attend the opening. Although it does not go into specifics, it is clear that being there will be dangerous, perhaps deadly. A Catholic who is loyal to the crown, Lord Melanie, takes a letter to the King's Chief Minister, Robert Cecil. One of Monteagle's servants informs the plotters about what has occurred, and Catesby, who immediately suspects his cousin Francis Tresham of penning the letter, confronts him. Tresham denies having had any part in it, but uses the opportunity to try to persuade Catesby to completely abandon the idea. Catesby refuses and has Guy Fawkes check the cellar to see if the gunpowder has been seized. It had not. Meanwhile, Robert Cecil has shown the letter to King James, who immediately hones in on the phrase terrible blow. He makes a connection to gunpowder and orders a search. The first search of the cellar is unsuccessful, as the attendant, Guy Fawkes, posing as John Jason, assures them that the cellar is rented to his master, Tom Percy, a royal bodyguard. The searchers are satisfied with the explanation, but the king is not. He orders another search, and this time, just after midnight on November the 5th, the searchers return to the cellar. This time they find Fawkes dressed for travelling and in possession of matches and fuses. Further searches turn up the 36 barrels of gunpowder. Fawkes is taken into custody and then taken to the king. He is interrogated but refuses to talk until he has been tortured. He finally admits his real identity and confesses the plot to destroy England's Protestant reign and replace it with a Catholic monarchy. Catesby is shot and killed, and Fawkes and the other surviving conspirators are sentenced to be publicly hanged, drawn, and quartered on January 31st, 1606. The day of the intended execution, Fawkes jumps from the ladder leading up to the gallows, breaking his neck and dying. That's actually quite the smart move. If you can get yourself dead before they start pulling you in the floor, that's probably a good idea. And at that point, I'm going to have a look at the chat. Sorry, I'm just checking the chat. 5th of November. There's Rags in. Right. Don't think there's anything I actually really need to get involved with, so we're all good. And we shall continue. Guy Fawkes Night also called Guy Fawkes Day or Bonfire Night, was established that same year, 1606, by Parliament in remembrance of the foiled Gunpowder Plot. It is now celebrated every year on November the 5th, when people across England set off fireworks, light bonfires, and burn effigies of Guy Fawkes. It was a legal requirement to observe Guy Fawkes Day until 1959. Based move, and I would like to know why that was repealed. When the observance of 5th November Act was repealed, we should never have repealed that law. That's one law that needed to stay. Because here's the thing, as Toffee was saying earlier, the place in that he would have normally went to watch the fireworks display that has been cancelled. Councils across Great Britain, not Northern Ireland, because we never did really do anything on the 5th of November, Guy Fawkes Day, but a load of councils have pulled the funding for their fireworks displays for lack of money. Some of them are citing health and safety reasons, whatnot. But if the observance of 5th November Act had not been repealed, they would not have been able to do that. And another piece of our culture would have remained intact. So here we go with the important facts. The Gunpowder Plot is the name of a foiled effort in England in 1605 by Catholic rebels to kill the non-Catholic. Let me just fix that. A foiled effort in England in 1605 by Catholics to repeal the Protestant king and many members of Parliament by blowing up the House of Lords. The plot was scheduled to take place on the opening day of the House of Lords, ensuring the presence of the king and most, if not all, the members of Parliament. The hostility and bitter history between Catholics and the Church of England Protestants dates back to the reign of Henry VIII, who instituted the legality of divorce by separating from the Catholic Church. For those of you that are interested, all at this stage, Henry VIII, of the many, many wives, wanted to have a male child. None of the wives could sire a male child. So he needed the divorce in order to swap out one wife, bring in another wife. He went to the Pope and asked for a divorce, and the Pope said no. And he went, well, fuck you, and formed the Church of England, Church of Ireland, Church of Scotland. No Church of Wales, because Wales isn't really a country. And they became Protestant Catholics, which would be all your Anglicans, your Church of Ireland, Church of Scotland, Church of England, that sort of thing. And then you have pure Protestantism, which would be likes of your Methodists, Presbyterians, and whatnot, that came quite some time later. So that's where this all stemmed. And what you will find is the people who were loyal to the king swapped from Roman Catholicism to Protestant Catholicism, and those that were not loyal to the king remained Roman Catholics. The divide in the peoples was there before the divide in religions, and was indeed the cause of the divide of the people. The divide in the people was what caused the divide in the religions. Most people get that arse about face. The leader of the rebels was Robert Catesby, a Catholic whose father had been imprisoned for his beliefs. After the plot and explosives were discovered, Catesby was shot and killed, holding a picture of the Virgin Mary. The most famous of the rebels was Guy Fawkes. A Catholic convert, mercenary, and explosive expert who was in charge of and captured with the gunpowder. After being tortured, Fawkes gave up the plot and the names of his co-conspirators. Fawkes avoided being hung, drawn, and quartered by leaping from the scaffolding up to the gallows and breaking his neck. That was a smart move. You don't want to be ripped apart by horses. That's got a sting. 36 barrels of gunpowder were kept in the cellar right below the Parliament while the opening day kept being postponed. An anonymous letter was sent to Lord Montega warning of the impending attack. It took 2 searches of the cellar to discover the gunpowder, and the second one probably would not have worked had Guy Fawkes not been in travelling clothes. And Guy Fawkes Day is celebrated in England every year on November the 5th, all across England, with bonfires, fireworks, and hanging of effigies of Fawkes. And it's not a coincidence that every time you get a list like this, there's 10, because that's just the way they like to do things. And with that, I'm going to have a look in the chat. Right. What a chat. Jane Seymour gave him a son. See, MG's all over this. Better than I am now. Did she survive? Rags was looking after a cat. Right. Evening, Housing Party UK press office. What about you, Sean? Boss, nice one. Right, said 40. I'm too sexy for this chat. All right. But she didn't die from a short haircut, did she? Died shortly after childbirth. All right. It was one of those things where the childbirth was that difficult, mother died, which was quite common back then. We're on 37 minutes, all good. Now we're going to have a little bit of look at the House of Parliament, what they say about the Gunpowder Plot, and this is from the UK Parliament website. Assassination, intrigue, prosecution, spying, mass murder, and family plot to blow up Parliament before Guy Fawkes was caught red-handed. A chain of all events all over Europe led to the Gunpowder Plot in 1605. This section traces the background of the Gunpowder Plot and describes the development of a conspiracy which is associated with one of the best known dates in British history, the 5th of November. Right. What did I want out of this? Right, I think we want to go back. Yes, this is the UK Parliament website is a bit of a nightmare to navigate. Overview. When Casby Fox and their fellow patriots decided to take matters in their own hands and strike at the very heart of the monarchy and the government in 1605, they were doing so against the background of religious and political divisions with a long and bloody history. This section explores the roots of those divisions and influence upon the deadly conspiracy and the details of the plot itself, step by stealthy step. Hold on 1 second. Pat, did you just Pat NSP UK? Are you still in the chat? And did you just message me? If so, let us know, please. Persecution. First, right. We'll go through the plot. Disappointed with the failure of James I's peace treaty and negotiation with Spain to improve their position, a handful of Catholic gentlemen from the Midlands and some. Right. I don't think we actually need this. Actually, I think we're going to dump that. I missed the 11 p.m. alarm too. I think the phone missed the 11 p.m. alarm. It has got itself silenced somehow on a Saturday. Toffee, what about you, chum? Hope the dogs are doing good and they're not too freaked with noise. There's Jess is in. Oh, fuck. Wasn't he a Spaniard? Because he was like, let's do it tomorrow, guys. Yes, Jess is in as well. Welcome. And let's see, what else have I got to talk about? Yes, we're going to move to the Lewis Bonfire. And I'm going to start off with the YouTube clip. Hold on. Oh, fuck, hold on. Right. Here we go. A little bit of video. Get that on that. There we go. That was a little video of the Bonfire and Lewis, and now I'm going to go to the information about it. And this is not good. That link does not seem to be working like a link, but right, we're back in business. Sure. I think we need to make this a little larger. The Lewis Bonfire Night, or the Lewis Bonfire Night celebrations, is the biggest celebrated 5th November event in the world and is held in the usually peaceful country town of Lewis, pronounced Lewis or Lewes, East Sussex, every year on the 5th of November. And the carnival and festival is known as either the Lewis Bonfire Night celebrations, Lewis Bonfire Night, or simply just the 5th. Right, that's just information. Charity boxes. Right. Within the pages of Lewis Bonfire Celebrations website, you will find a wealth of information, history, and theories. I have tried to be as accurate in my knowledge as could be. There should be something for everybody within this site. Right. This is one we want. Lewis originally always held their Bonfire Night celebrations on the 5th of November, Sunday included, but then it changed to if it falls on a Sunday, then out of respect to the church, to the Lewis Bonfire celebrations would have been moved to the Monday. Today, though the 5th of November falls on a Sunday, the proceedings will take place the Saturday before. Within 3 months of the Gunpowder Plot being discovered, an Act of Parliament was passed on the 21st of January 1606 to appoint 5th of November each year as a day of Thanksgiving for the joyful day of deliverance. This was by bell ringing, bonfires, etc. The Act remained in force until 1859. It appears that sometimes when the Lewis folk are drivered, they will if it suits them. Several references can be found in the Old Lewis Charbon's account book referring to payments made to bell ringers on the 5th of November from at least 1661. A particular interesting entry dated 5th November 1723 states, November ye 5th item paid, ye ringers, being the day of deliverance from the powdered plot. Lewis Bonfire Night celebrations in the early years would often get out of hand, turning into near rats, as did most of our celebrations at that time. It's starting to become a theme. Also, there were not regular events, just random events that continued until they were banned by Oliver Cromwell during the Cromwell by the Puritans between 1649 and 1660. Lewis Bonfire Night celebrations returned on a random basis when King George II came to the throne after the restoration of the monarchy in 1660. By the 18th century, interest had all but diminished, but in the 1820s, bonfire boys in large numbers took to the streets of Lewis, again celebrating with fireworks and bonfires in the street, and opposite the White Hart was one such bonfire. Apart from the dates above, history books or documents do not tell whether the bank holiday was served every year between 1606 and 1859, but according to the facts found on the first recorded parade of Guy Fawkes' enemies was in November 1679, when the Pope, Guy Fawkes, and others were paraded and pictured on long poles by young armed men in the Lewis and early elsewhere. Right. One second. One second. Sorry, this is not as organized as I would have wanted it to be. One momento. Boom, 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 boom. One momento. One moment. Oh, fuck it. Boom, boom, boom. Talk amongst yourselves. Right. Sorry about that, people. Sometimes things don't go just as well as planned, uh, especially whenever you have to change your show the day before uh, you're doing the show because YouTube fucking pulled your video. Right, we're now on Sky History. I'm just going to check the chat. Guy Fawkes? This is true toffee. Oh, they're lovely. Right. Uh, right. I'm going to zoom this in just a little. It's possibly not too much. No, I think it's all right. Right. How did the Lewis Bonfire season? The Lewis Bonfire Night celebrations likely began after the failure of the Gunpowder Plot and may also commemorate the grisly execution. It does actually celebrate this. The grisly execution of 17 Protestant martyrs who were burned to death in flaming pyres between 1555 and 1557. Going back further, the fiery celebrations have existed over 1,000 years in Hastings and nearby Kent in recognition of the end of the famous battle in 1066. The date of the battle, October 14th, is still celebrated annually with a parade and bonfire and fireworks. There may also be far more logical reasons for the original bonfire night. Large fires at the beginning of autumn would clear away the spoils of the harvest. Remember. Giant effigies. One of the leading players when it comes to burning effigies is the annual Edinburgh event in nearby Kent. The Edinburgh Bonfire Society, at just under 100 years old and the oldest located in Kent, prides itself in burning 30-foot tall effigies of famous notorious celebrities on massive bonfires. Past victims have included a couple of Kates Hopkins, right? Right. Here we go. The unstipulated champion of November the 5th of Lewis. 7 bonfire societies, including Cliff, Commercial Square, Borough, Neville, Juval, South Street, South Waterloo, and of course Lewis, the oldest, founded in 1853, come together annually to create the biggest bonfire night in the UK. The event is regularly attended by as many as 80,000 people. Lewis, like Edinburgh, has become synonymous with the burning of huge effigies of controversial individuals like Bashar al-Assad, Vladimir Putin, Kim Jong-un, Gaddafi, Alex Salmond. Actually, not Alex Salmond, after receiving complaints about the intention to burn an effigy of the former First Minister of Scotland in 2014. Sussex Police launched an investigation. Following the complaint, the decision was taken by the organisers not to burn the effigy, and the CPS dropped the case. This is fucking going to shite. I can't believe this. That I'm going to have to actually just do the Wikipedia. Share screen. Sorry for the less than optimum, but it is what it is. Bonfire Wikipedia. Lewis Bonfire, or Bonfire, short describes the celebrations town held of Lewis, Sussex, England, that constitute the United Kingdom's largest, most famous bonfire night festivals, with Lewis being called the bonfire capital of the world. Always held on the 5th of November, unless 5th falls on a Sunday, in which case it's held on Saturday the 4th. The event not only marks Guy Fawkes Night, the date of the uncovering of the Gunpowder Plot, but also commemorates the memory of 17 Protestant martyrs from the town who were burnt at the stake for their faith during the Marian persecutions. Lewis is home to the largest, most celebrated festivities in Sussex, in the Sussex bonfire tradition, and there are 7 societies putting on 6 separate processions, fireworks displays throughout Lewis on the 5th of November, as well as this, 25 to 30 societies from all around Sussex come to Lewis on the 5th to march in the street. This can mean up to 5,000 people taking part in the celebrations and up to 80,000 spectators attending in the county market town with a population of just over 17,000 people. The history of the bonfire celebrations, 5th November, throughout the United Kingdom, have their origins in the Gunpowder Plot of 1905, where a group of English Catholics, including the now infamous Guy Fawkes, were foiled in their plot to blow up the House of Lords. The following January, an act entitled An Act for a Plague, Thanksgiving to Almighty God, every year on the 5th day of November was passed, which held that 5th November should be held in perpetual remembrance of the plot, with a special service held at every Church of England parish church. Celebrations in Lewis were not planned or carried out annual, but more random events that more closely resembled raids. They continued until they were banned by Oliver Cromwell during the Cromwell wealth. However, they were reintroduced when King Charles II returned, but still on a random basis. Interest waned in the 18th century, but in the 1820s, large groups of bonfire buyers started celebrating the fireworks with large bonfires. The celebrations became rarer until 1847, when police forces were drafted in from London to sort out the bonfire boys. There were riots and fightings, and restrictions clamped down on celebrations. Their locations moved to Woodlands Park, at the time Fields, not the suburb it is today. However, in 1850, they were allowed back in the high streets. This time, the former riots had become much more of a procession carried out today. In 1853, the first two societies, Cliff and Lewisborough, were founded, and most of the others were founded later in the same century. The cult of the Sussex Martyrs was instigated at the time for the rest at the time of the restoration of the Catholic hierarchy in England, bolstered by the increase of the Irish Catholic population, as well as high-profile conversion to Catholicism from members of the Oxford movement, including the Cardinal Newman, former Archdeacon of Chester, Henry Edward Manning. In the mid-19th century, the practice of burning an effigy of Pope Paul V at the Lewis bonfire celebrations began. Paul V was a peaceable man who happened to be the Pope at the time of the Gunpowder Plot, and who cannot be held responsible for the Gunpowder Plot or the persecution of Protestants in the reign of Mary I. Maybe. I don't know. I'm going to check the chat. Zach, thank you. Right. Which were linked at this time by a misunderstanding of the past. In 1893, William Richardson, rector of the Sullivan district of Lewis, held sermons on Sunday before the 5th November, warning about the perils of Catholicism. Many attendees were members of the newly formed Orange Lodge in Lewis. On an interesting note, I got into conversation with the treasurer of the Orange Lodge in Lewis, and the Orange Lodge have been denied access. They've basically been banned from the parade. They're not allowed into the parade anymore. There is a history of religious anti-Gnosticism and anti-popery around the bonfire celebration in Lewis. In the 1930s, the mayor of Lewis requested that the no popery banners be removed and an end to the burning of effigies of Pope V. In the 1950s, the Cliff Bonfire Society was banned from the Bonfire Council from taking part in the United Grand Procession for refusal to stop carrying the no popery banner. and the banners commemorating the 16th century Protestant martyrs burned at Lewes. In 1981, Ian Paisley, the Right Reverend, visited Lewes on Bonfire night and tried to fan the flames of conflict by handing out anti-Catholic pamphlets. His intervention backfired, and the following year he was burned as an effigy. Today, anti-Catholic attitudes are rare, and the militant Calvinism that continues in Northern Ireland is all but extinct in Lewes. In the 21st century, controversy continues to be associated around the bonfire societies as competing definitions of tradition and bigotry. For instance, the burning of the effigy of Pope V was described in 2012 as a scandalous piece of stone-cold bigotry, and in 2017, the Lewes Bonfire Borough Bonfire Society agreed to end the tradition of blacking up and wearing skulls and horns as part of its Zulu costume. You fucking wankers. You soft sop of shit, because once you go backwards, you will never get it back. And once they take one chip out, they will take another and another and another, and you need to keep your traditions exactly as they are. To mark the demise of the 17 Lewes martyrs, 17 burning crosses are carried through the town, and a wreath-laying ceremony occurs at the War Memorial in the centre of town. Ladies and men races take place, pulling flaming tar barrels in a barrel run, which take place along Cliff High Street at the start of the evening. The flaming tar barrel is then thrown into the river Ouse. This is said to symbolise the throwing of the magistrates into the river after they read the Riot Act to the Bonfire Boys in 1847. The festivities culminate in 5 separate bonfire displays. A number of large effigies are drawn through the streets before the burning of the bonfires. Each year these include Guy Fawkes as well as Pope Paul V, who became the head of the Roman Catholic Church in 1605. In addition, each of the 5 main societies creates a topical tableau, a large 3-dimensional model packed with fireworks, and the Cliff and Southover societies. 1 second, I've got a fucking crazy cat woman to deal with. Yes, so if I'm doing a YouTube show at the moment, I'm live. Right, you're my door. Right. That's that dealt with. Yes. Where were we before we were rudely interrupted? The Cliffy and Southover Societies display on pegs the heads and also in effigy of its current enemies of the bonfire, who range from nationally revered figures to local officials who have attempted to place restrictions on the event. In 2001, effigies of Osama bin Laden were burned by the Cliff, Commercial Square, and Lewes Bonfire Societies, causing the Lewes Bonfire to receive more press attention than usual, being featured on the front page of some national newspapers, as did the Fire Bonfire Societies in 2003 for their choice of a gypsy caravan. In 2014, police investigated complaints about plans to burn 2 effigies of Alex Salmond, First Minister of Scotland, and 1 model was subsequently withdrawn from the event. In 2015, effigies of David Cameron with a pig, Jeremy Clarkson, and Sepp Blatter were burned. The Daily Telegraph has described the night as a head-on collision of Halloween and Mardi Gras, with up to 80,000 people have been known to attend this local spectacle, coming from all over the south and sometimes further afield. As the event has grown in recent years, the police presence on the night has increased to deal with large crowds attracted to the event. The events are organised by each local bonfire society in conjunction with the Sussex Police, Surrey Police, East Sussex Fire and Rescue, South East Ambulance Service, and John's Ambulance has treatment centres and ambulances around the procession routes and bonfire sites to care for anyone who has been injured. In recent years, railway stations at Lewis, Farmer, Glyde, South East have all planned closures for the duration of the event due to the foreseeable overcrowding. I'm just going to check the chat. I did, mate. That's exactly what happened. Right. Let's talk about the cattle dealer. Right. Here's what happened. I have a crazy cat woman that lives in the house next door to me, who on occasion shouts up through my window whenever she wants something, and she shouted and I heard her and went to the window and she's going, "I've got a problem." And I was like, "Yeah, so have I. I'm in the middle of a live stream, so I can't help you. Bye bye." And at that, she went away. Your stream has DIY vibe. Don't know what's coming. Yep, that's exactly. Yep, Team Crazy Cat Lady. Sansom was saying earlier, 40 days a long time, and all you've got's a herd of cats for company. Oh, yeah. Oh, fuck. Right. Back to Lewis. Lewis have 7 bonfire societies. I'm going to skip and just go through these. Cliff. The Cliff, founded in 1853, traditionally represents the cliff and Lansdowne areas of Lewis, centred around Cliff High Street. But recently they also claimed the South Malling suburb in addition to the Malling Bonfire Society. Their smugglers' jumpers are black and white, and the pioneer fronts are Vikings and French revolutionaries. The Dorset Arms is the society's headquarters, and the local church is St. Thomas of Bex. Currently, the only society to march under a no popery banner and to continue the tradition to burn, more accurately, explode with fireworks in effigy of Pope Paul V at the bonfire. So these people are at least making an effort to stick to the traditions. Commercial Square. And typically this was the oldest one. Commercial Square, founded in 1855, they represent the St John's area of North Lewis Castle, based on Commercial Square, which is where their headquarters, the Elephant and Castle pub, is based. The pioneers are Native Americans. This was picked after Lewismans visited the US in the 19th century and realized their hardship. Oh, fuck. And American Civil War soldiers, and the smugglers wear gold and black jumpers. The society also claims the Watland Parks, Watland suburbs, the local church St John's. Lewisborough. Lewisborough is a joint old society with Cliff, formed in 1853. Until 1859, they were known as Lewistown Bonfire Society and have been marching the streets of the town for over 150 years. Borough is the home of the Sulu, which is their first pioneer group, and the Tudor, which is the society's second pioneer groups. The jumpers are blue and white. In 1863, the famous monster Iron Key of the ancient borough of Lewis, weighing nearly a quarter of a hundredweight, that's 12 kilos, was carried in the procession for the first time. The same key is still carried today in the borough's processions and is a symbol that on the 5th of November, the borough boys were given the freedom of the streets of Lewis. Representing the western half of Lewis, located on Western Road near headquarters is St Mary's Social Club, which, unlike the others, is not a pub. The local church is St Anne's. Southover. Southover has its roots in the mid 19th century, but it disbanded in 1985 and then reformed in 2005. It represents the Candlestone and St Pancras area, as well as the old village of Southover. Located on Southover High Street, the local church is St John the Baptist, where the War Memorial and headquarters is the Swan Inn. The Guernseys are red and black, and their pioneers are monks, representing the remains of the Priory of St Pancras nearby. The Buccaneers Souvenir March and the British Imperial Marching Band and the Plaintiff Drummers Souvenir Festivities and the Convent Field behind Lewis Football Club. South Street. South Street was formed in 1913 as a society for the children of members of Cliff. However, both Cliff and South Street now accept members of all ages. Their jumpers are brown and cream. The pioneers are the first Corporal Power mid 18th century and second Western Civil War mid 17th soldiers. They are based in South Street in a small area to the west between it and the River Ouse, and the headquarters is the Snowdrop South Street. Their fireside is on the railway land. Waterloo was reformed in 1954, represents the area of South East main commercial square. There is a fair bit of overlap between the two. Based in Market Square, the quarter of Lewis with a population was heavily destroyed and local planning council to make way for roads. Waterloo jumpers are red and white. Their pioneers are Mongols and ancient Greeks and Romans, and their headquarters was the Royal Oak. Naval Juvenile, founded in 1967 specifically for children, Naval has remained a juvenile society and represents the Naval estate. Their headquarters is the St Mary's Social Centre. They hold their celebrations a week or two before the other societies with help from those six. The pioneers, fuck. And now we know why it's going woke. Their pioneers are the suffragettes. This is, say 1967, they make one for the kids, they make them suffragettes. And from then on, their traditions just go to shit because that's how things go whenever you bring these fucking social planning bastards into anything. And there we go. So there is the Lewis Bonfire. We'll take that away and we go back to studio and we shall check the comments. Oh, I don't have any crazy neighbours. Come to think of that, I'm pretty sure that I'm the crazy neighbour that talks to the jokes. Oh. Emma G and the cat lady haven't really interacted much. The closest thing. There was that one time when I was just came to the window and asked, could I help with moving something? And I went, no, Emma G's here. He asked me tomorrow. Oh, fuck. There you go. Right. I think we are going to have a little interlude. Let's see, just check where we're on. We're on 119. I'm going to do a little bit of talk about Movember. So that's going to take about 5 minutes. I think we're going to have a musical interlude. Emma G would not do that. Emma G's a nice, peaceful lady. But crazy Catwomen are fucking crazy. Uh, let's see. What we're going to have for musical interlude? I think we're going to have a sea shanty. Actually, we're going to have a bit of Stray Cats. Because Budgie Burger keeps asking for Stray Cats. So, uh, yeah, we'll do Stray Cat Strut. Why not? What could possibly what could possibly go wrong? Budgie Burger, this one's for you. There you go. That's a bit of the Stray Cats. Some 1980s rockabilly music. Uh, so there you go. That was a little musical interlude and dedicated to the Budgie Burger, who has been, yes, there he is. Hope you like that. He's always asking for a bit of Stray Cats, so there you go. Yeah. Maybe a bit of Pool Cats in Milan as well, Mr. Griffin. Uh, where was that one? I'll get to that. Actually, do us a favor. Sansom, could you ping me that link on Telegram? And I will do that. Meow. Well, your brother smells like a pool cat. Yes, so there we go. There's some weird music. Sansom has sent me that. I'm going to do that Urban Derber one after I do a little bit about Movember. Okay, because we've just entered Movember. Right. Mhm. Here we go. Movember about us. Men are down too young. We can't afford to stay silent. Uh, our partners, our fathers, partners, brothers, friends are facing a health crisis. It's rarely talked about. Men are down too young. We can't afford to stay silent. Uh, they're the leading charity changing the face of men's health. We know what works for men and what doesn't. They're uh, things that they're most looking at is mental health, suicide prevention, prostate cancer, and testicular cancer. Okay. We'll look at the cause. Men's health is in crisis. Men are dying on average 4.5 years earlier than women, and for largely preventable reasons. A growing number of men, around 10.8 million globally, are facing life with prostate cancer diagnosis. Globally, testicular cancer is the most common cancer among young men and across the world. One man dies by suicide every minute of every day, and males are accounting for 69% of all suicides. Movember is uniquely placed to address the crisis on a global scale. We fund groundbreaking projects all over the world, engaging men where they are to understand what works best and accelerate change. Uh, they're they're funded projects, 1,250 plus projects. Uh, they have 20 partners and they're in 20 countries. Work closely with our global men's health partners to ensure collaboration, transparency, and accountability for every project we fund. We monitor this through report cards which detail what we seek to achieve and key measures of the impact. And on this site, you can get all the information about it. So there is now, if I go back to this, one second. There's a bit down here. From humble beginnings, the Movember movement has grown into a truly global one. We've made epic process in men's health, but for every whisker, the credit goes to our Mo bros and sisters around the world. 5 million since 2003. Their enthusiasm fuels our fire. The support change lives. For them, we're committed to keeping things fun, fresh, and inspiring. They are the rock stars and the roadies. In 2003, helped us start a movement, Men's Health, a movement that has since funded over 1,320 men's health projects around the world, challenging the status quo, shaking up men's health research, and transforming the way health services reach and support men. We've taken on three of the biggest health issues affecting men: mental health, suicide prevention, and prostate cancer and testicular cancer. As a result, men are living healthier, longer lives. This movement started with 30 people. Now it claims a head count of over 6 million, and we're not done yet. In 2003, two mates, Travis Grown and Luke Slattery, meet up for a quiet beer in Melbourne, Australia, and the idea sparked Movember is born. The moustache had all but disappeared from fashion trends. They could bring it back, and they found 30 guys willing to take up the challenge. And the challenge is don't shave for 30 days, grow a bit of a mustache, and post pictures of yourself changing. And that money goes to this charity, which does a hell of a lot of good work for men's health. Inspired by the Mo's ability to generate a conversation, the crew decided to take things to the next level. Alan Gloom steps up and registers Movember to create a website. Justin Cologne comes on board to kickstart things in Queensland. The funds raised go to Prostate Cancer Foundation of Australia. At the time, that was the first Movember check that was the largest. At the time, that first Movember check was the largest single donation to the Prostate Cancer Foundation of Australia had ever received. 2005, Movember returns for another year, and the Mo's start to gain serious momentum in Australia. Funds go from the PFC come on board with Movember's first official men's health partner. 2006 becomes an official charity. Beyond Blue becomes Movember's second health partner in Australia. Movember officially launches in New Zealand the partnership with the Prostate Cancer Foundation. I'm going to skip through some of these. We'll look at 2010. Movember officially launches campaigns in South Africa in partnership with Cancer Association of South Africa and Finland and Netherlands and the Czech Republic. Movember launches first directly funded project, Global Action Plan, created to accelerate prostate cancer research and outcomes through global collaboration. We're going to skip to about 2014, Movember was ranked 72 out of the top 500 NGOs, non-government organisations. At last, we found a good one. Participating in Australia, Austria, Belgium, Canada, Czech Republic, Denmark, Finland, France, Hong Kong, Germany, Ireland, Netherlands, New Zealand, Norway, Singapore, South Africa, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, the UK, and the USA. And they had raised 402 million at that point. And we're going to go right down to the bottom. And the last update is 2021. Movember successfully launches Family Man, the world's first online parenting program designed with dads in mind. Don't actually like the sound of that. To improve their parenting confidence and knowledge. The Nunavut territory is one of the highest suicide rates. Yeah, I'm going to need to check that out. There you go. That is a bit of an overview about Movember. And there we go. When the sun's on it. Ragnar, where the fuck is the Republic? I've never heard of that. Republic of Tanzania. And if you're talking about Ireland, no, I'll not be, because see that place across the border? It is, I don't know, do you want me to do one about Swaziland? Maybe one about Tanzania, Spain, whatever, because that place down there across the border that you can't even figure out the fucking name of, that has no interest in me. None. It's a foreign country. Right. Now, and with that, I'm going to get onto this. Right. Another musical interlude. Well, you see, here's the thing. The Republic doesn't exist either. It's not a name for a country. Same way as the north of Ireland doesn't exist, that they would use to describe here. You know, if we're gonna go with false names for places, we might as well try and do as many of them as we can. That place down there across the border, it's as much fucking it's as much use to me as it's as much interest to me as Kakistan is. Not Kazakhstan, Kakistan. And I don't give a fuck. I really don't care what the fuck goes on down there. I know you've got this whole fucking thinking that there are brothers and sisters and shit going on, but I don't. I know they're not only a different nationality, they're a different population as well. None to do with us. And it's not our, hasn't been our for a very long fucking time. It's called Ireland, mate. And with that, we have a musical interlude.
Here we go again. 2021 people. Watch me now before it's too late. When I discovered YouTube many years ago, I found out I could look for all my favorite videos. From 80s infomercials to arguments in pubs, from famous Beatles concerts to little panda cubs. Later it got bigger and more people got involved. The videos got better and the platform had evolved. It was a place where things got crazy and speech was free. There were no limits to what you could see. But then something happened in 2016. Trump got into office and the left started to scream. They changed their terms of service and ramped up censorship. So if anyone was right-wing, they had to watch their lip. If you stand up for your people and defend your land, it's very likely these days that you're gonna be banned. What you're allowed to say, no one really knows. But don't worry about a thing, cause we can still make cat videos. We can still make cat videos. We can still make cat videos. If you question COVID-19, say that it's a fake, or refuse to take the vaccine, then your channel is at stake. If you say that the election was totally unfair, your content will be nuked and you'll be blocked everywhere. There's still a lot of stuff you can see on YouTube, like gangsters playing weapons and sluts with golden boobs. But I'm not from the violence and I don't care for hoes. So if I want a plaque, then I better make some cat videos. We can still make cat videos. We can still make cat videos. Everybody likes a pussy. Everybody likes a pussy, pussy cat. Everybody likes a pussy. Everybody likes a pussy, pussy cat. Ah, yeah. That's the way it is these days. You want to see more of those furry creatures? There they go. Cat videos, 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 cat videos. There are still things you can say on YouTube. You can bitch about white people and discuss types of loot. You can complain about Christians and sometimes Muslims too, but you're gonna lose your channel if you criticize the channel. Everybody likes a pussy. Everybody likes a pussy, pussy cat. Everybody likes a pussy. Everybody likes a pussy, pussy cat. We think some gets banned and I can't strike. All it will do is prove that I'm right. I'm still here, so we'll see how it goes. But if you want success, then just make cat videos.
That was class. That is fucking excellent. Really good video. Excellent worker from Urban Herbs. Right. And with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this in the chat. Anybody wants to come on? Oh, mate, no, thank you. Thank you. That was a fucking excellent video. Anybody wants to come on for a chat? Come on for a chat. And while we're doing that, there's a comment up here I'm going to address. How's that? I don't get the Ireland thing. Sorry, we all need to come together and fight the real evil that we can't talk about here. Well, here's the thing, that. See, whenever you see a whole bunch of white people running about, shouting, free Palestine, and they've got their Antifa mob with them, and then they turn up protesting against the people who are trying to stop the migrants being moved into ex-British Army campaigns. Why don't you go over and ask them to come and join your cause? And you just won't do that because it won't work, because they don't think like you, they don't want what you want, and they don't want anything to do with you. In fact, they hate you, and they would rather you did not exist. Well, I've got a whole country of people living next door to me that don't want my country to exist, and I can't exactly join along with them, and I won't join along with them because I kind of like having my country. I like having my nationality. I like having my country. So, and they'd want me to have that, so I cannot be getting in cahoots with them. And now it gets even more mental. Yes, Rory, if you're Packa is down the pub, Packa and Mrs. Packa are at a fancy dress thing. They're doing that, so I don't expect the Packa to come in. Top Cat was a good show. I remember that whenever I was a kid. It is 15 minutes past midnight. And feeling anybody wanting to come on and have a chat, stick stuff in the stick stuff in the chat that you want me to talk about. We're now on Ask Me Anything type of territory. That's selfish of them going out and doing their change the boss cat. No, how's that? It was not a religious thing. Let's see. How in depth would you like me to get? Ireland was settled by British people moving between Ulster and Scotland, going back 7 centuries. 5th century. I think it started the 5th century BC. And as much as they had separate tribes, it was all pretty homogenous. We're all British people. Whenever you look at the archaeology from Britain and Ireland, it's all very similar. Then in 250 BC, the Celts invaded. Yes, Burn, the Scotti. The Scotti and the Picts would be previous names for the Ulster Scots people. And then in between 500 and 250 BC, the Celts. Get yourself a coffee, chumley, and jump in. And if you need the link, just let me know. So 250 BC, the Celts arrived. The next thing you have around there is the Black Pug Dyke, which are defensive works that go around the borders of Ulster. Whenever the Celts came, they came in from the south, they worked their way up. They never did get on the Ulster. We're getting there. So the Irish and the Celts have been fighting since 250 BC. It flares up, it goes down. We went from being pagans to all Catholics as life went on. And then whenever Henry VIII arrived, we had the Reformation, the people who were loyal to the crown, which in Ireland were the British people, not the Celts. The British people became Protestant Catholics, and it has flared up and down ever since. In 1921, post World War I, Ireland was separated, and the British people had Northern Ireland, and the Irish people had the Republic of Ireland. In what has become very typical and common, the Irish people have never accepted the two-state solution, and they are still pushing to remove my country from existence and stop me being British. And I ain't ever going to jump up. I ain't ever going to join in and collude with people who do not want my country to exist. That's just not a possibility. I don't care if they're white, brown, yellow, green, or Martian, unless they're willing to respect my national identity. I ain't getting in bed with them. There you go. 1 second. I read somewhere 90% of privately owned and is still owned by the descendants of the Normans. Probably sounds about right. Mr. Communion, what about you, chum?
Hello, mate. I'm surprised it wasn't a cavalcade of folk wanting to get on the stream tonight, because you covered some pretty interesting stuff. And once again, as you alluded to during the presentations that you gave, which I know you seemed a bit chagrined at the fact that certain bits and bobs wasn't working, but it came across brilliantly, mate. The stuff about Lewes was, I didn't know any of that. I knew there was something that went on in that area. I didn't realize it was as big a thing as what it was. But one of the comments I made in the chat, when you looked at the sort of the vapid, sort of metrosexual Tristram and Jemima types in there, they are applauding this wonderful, and I'm not demonizing what they were doing, because I think it is wonderful. But they are there all applauding, isn't this wonderful, this tradition, this, that, and the other. And yet they'll be the same fuckers who'll be the ones who were stood there, the first ones saying, bridges, not walls, and we don't believe in borders, blah, blah, blah. And then when those traditions get eradicated or demonized, then, they'll be the first ones to complain, won't they? They'll be saying, we used to enjoy that tradition that we used to have. Well, guess what, people? You were the ones who were clamoring for all the shit that allowed it to be eradicated. So I thought you gave a very, very good presentation across all of the bits and bobs. It was very informative. So you may have thought that certain bits weren't going right, but for me, it flowed very well. And I learned, as always with your streams, I learned a hell of a lot, mate.
Thank you very much, Sansom. That's very kind of you to say. It just wasn't as switched on as I normally like it to be, but it is what it is. And then we also had a Catwoman jumping in. Toffee, I'm about to say hello to you. I'm just going to address this comment from Brian. What's the difference between a Catholic king and a Protestant king? Well, the King of England is also the defender of the faith. So if you have a Catholic king, it changes the official religion of the country. So that's what the big difference is. Toffee, what about you, chum? Toffee, you're muted.
I was just going to say before.
Hello, sir. Am I my audio all right?
Yeah, you're great, mate. I was just going to say the difference between a Protestant king and a Catholic king is about 50 quid.
Yeah, well, there's a lot to do with the whole what the official faith of the country is.
Well, I think there's a bit of a delay on my side. Wait there, mate. I'll jump out and then jump back on.
Right. Okay.
I bet he's got the old YouTube going on in the background and he's getting his own echo.
Yes, that's probably what it is.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something else. We don't. Protestants don't have anything to do with the Vatican. They're Protestant Catholics. They cut away from the Church of Rome, the Vatican, and all of that stuff, and they created their own. There's other issues, like if we were still in originally, we had a ruling whereby you had to have a Protestant prime minister to represent the Protestant king.
Yes.
Boris Johnson was the first Catholic prime minister. Now, interestingly, he did that sort of undercover. He was very cagey about what religion he was. Then it came out that he was a Catholic, right? And because you can have a non-Protestant,
a quick mic test 1 2 1 2.
Working great. Yep, because you can have a non-Protestant prime minister that is a Catholic. Why?
Sophie, have you got YouTube on in the background, mate? Because if you have, turn it off, because that's where you're getting the delay from. Because you've still got YouTube on in the background. Mute YouTube and then come into the channel. You've got YouTube on in the background, haven't you, you dosser? Hey, real Vincent Griffin. I want an extra point on that star. Come on. Have you not heard of the current thing?
Oh, Mr. Griffin, what about you, Sean?
Sorry, I was muted. It just takes a while to get used to. I'm holding the mic up in the air now. I felt a bit nervous. I couldn't even come on here. I had to have a little nip of some Bacardi, but it worked pretty quick. So just to take the edge off, I don't know. I was getting a bit shy and nervous. Weird, but it is public, so you know, kind of public, isn't it?
Yeah.
Happy. What's it called? Guy Fawkes night. I think we call it Bonfire night, really, down here.
Yeah. Guy Fawkes, Bonfire night. It's all the same thing.
Yeah. But I don't think they ever called it Guy Fawkes night, not down here anyway. It's always Bonfire night in London, where I live anyway. But yeah, it's just today there was only fireworks between 6:30 and 9:30. It seemed quite regimented. Like normally it goes on till 1 o'clock in the morning and stuff. But maybe tomorrow, but it's a Sunday. But normally they don't care. They start doing it sort of 3 days before and a couple of days after. But I guess that's just the kids, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it's
quite
quite
cheap. It's so expensive to buy the fucking things, though. I don't know how the kids how they afford to get them. I think maybe it's just teenage kids, isn't it? Not kids like 10-year-olds, surely. All we could get was bangers and things back in the day. You might get the odd sort of Roman candle or something if you stole it off someone. But I didn't really do that, so. I used to do the fireworks, you know. I was trusted to sort of light them and that when I was sort of 12-ish. That's how you learn, isn't it? To become a man or whatever.
Do you remember one called the firebomb repeater? That was about the most lethal firework we were allowed to have. But some of the buggers I've heard going off tonight, they make that sound like a piffling banger.
I can't remember.
Air bomb repeaters. Do you remember that one?
Aerial bombs, yeah, they were massive.
Air bomb repeater, it was called. I think you got 2 or 3 in a single go, and they were loud. And we used to
Toffee's
go to
back
this
now.
old bridge and let them off under that bridge, and they used to give off a right old clatter. But the modern stuff, what these gadgets are using now, back where I am, geez, I tell you what, I nearly ducked and covered twice when I heard them going off.
Yeah, they're not supposed to be sold, I don't think. A lot of them are not supposed to be sold in normal shops on the high street. I think they're kind of semi-professional ones that are getting through somehow. I don't know. They're definitely much more powerful than they used to be, surely. You know.
Yeah, I think there's more semi-professional ones about because it has been a lot louder around here. And interesting thing, in Belfast we never had fireworks. They were banned until about 1990 because we were worried about people taking the gunpowder of it and making bombs and shit.
Exactly.
But like, I
They
don't
could get
know
that
what
anyway,
that.
though, couldn't they?
Yeah, well, fuck. The
Again,
place was
little
coming
kids, I mean.
Yeah, the place was coming down with Samtex, mate.
Exactly.
And they were worried about fireworks. But then whenever they became legal, it was not even legal, just decriminalized. It went absolutely fucking nuts for 3 weeks. But Halloween, for about 3 weeks before Halloween, there was fireworks everywhere. But it hasn't seemed to be quite as bad this year. But I have noticed some of them are overly loud.
Toffee's back. You can hear shouting in the background.
Yeah,
Toffee, you there, bud?
that's outside. That shouting's outside. I'm going to close my window.
Oh, is it? Is that the cat woman?
Cat lady. Toffee, are you there, bud?
What's the chat say? There's some message in the chat on here. I still haven't signed up for an account. It's not working my end for some reason, lads. Toffee says 4 minutes ago, but it's back in again. I had trouble last week, didn't I? Because you got to turn your picture off, the camera off, then your avatar comes up.
Well, my internet completely binned, and when I eventually got back in and I was visible on the stream, all of my audio had been. So in the end, I had to, even though my Tinterweb was on by then, I had to come out completely, reboot my machine. It was only then that it let me on with the full-on audio and that. But yeah, it's funny. If a little quick interlude while Toffee sorts his stuff out, mate. When you're talking about the Catholic and Protestant thing, yeah. Scott Webb, do you know Scott Webb, the Scottish lad, 42 lads? Have you heard of him? He was on DJ's show once. He's called that. This guy Scott Webb. He's only on Odyssey because his YouTube channel got yeeted by Susan AI Mark II.
Yeah, and don't know, mate.
Well, he's pretty good in fairness, and I'll drop his link in the chat subsequently. But they were on about soulless cremations and tangents on. Well, I can share it because he did. I won't do the video, but this was his. This was his. This was one of his videos, and it was on soulless cremations and tangents and how we got here. It's basically about people who are opting for these, pay upfront cremations, and basically they ship your body off, you get burned, and they send the ashes back, basically, yeah. And it was like sort of taken as being the soulless thing, and I took the time and effort, and he did appreciate. I took the time and effort to respond to that, and I'd like to sort of read out what I said because I'd like your opinions on it, because this is my opinion on this. I understand where he's coming from it being soulless, yeah. But I've already bought up for one of these things. I paid early, so when when I'm gone, essentially, I'm getting carted off. They'll need a fucking big crematorium, but I'm getting carted off. I'm getting burned, and the ashes are coming back to my family. And this was my response to this, and I'd like your opinion on it. And this is what I said. In fairness, this is my option. I don't see the point in lining the pockets of expensive funeral directors, etc., when I'd much rather leave that in the arse pocket of my kids. This is not unique to me. All of my family have always preferred cremation, which is true, although they did go through the pomp and ceremony of a church service before being committed at the crematorium. For me, the real question is, why are people opting for a service like this? Well, I can't speak for them, but I no longer believe that the Christian church is a force for good anymore. In fact, I would go so far as to say that both Welby and the current pontiff serve evil, not God. I don't want them or their facade of Christianity anywhere near my final wishes. Please understand that this does not mean that I am an atheist and I don't believe in God. Far from it. He can pick this apple anytime he likes. I just don't feel that my belief should be constrained or controlled by any man's dogma or religion, especially one that I no longer trust nor will have anything to do with. My children are grown up now, and they know exactly what my last wishes are because I have told them time and again what they are. They are good kids, therefore I expect my last wishes to be met. I have also promised them that I will haunt them if they ever get teary-eyed and all maudlin when they remember me, because I've never caused them any harm in any sadness in life, and I've always had a wicked sense of humour. And so I have said that when I'm gone, just remember me with a smile. They know where I want my ashes scattering. It's a remote, beautiful spot on the Northumberland coastline where when they're in the area, they can pay me a visit with the double incentive of being able to get some cracking fish and chips, which is a true story, by the way. So it's not my final. It's not that my final resting plans are soulless. It's just that I don't want the demons in the Vatican or Canterbury to have anything to do with them. I just thought I'd share my thoughts for a bit of balance, mate. So, that's my exact opinion. I understand where he's coming from when he says, that's a bit soulless and all that crap. But I don't want those pretend fuckers anywhere near my last rites or my final wishes. And Toffee, mate, are you there now, buddy?
I think so.
Yes.
I don't know what I did wrong there.
I'll tell you what, mate.
I'm not
it's a
very
mystery.
technologically savvy.
No, I'm not either. We need DJ to warm us an egg on his Xbox. That's what we need.
Oh. Well, Toffee, what about you, chum?
I'm not too shabby, thank you, mate. I haven't spoken to you for ages, 42.
Yeah,
Ages.
Yeah, it's just one of them things. I guess we've just been busy and stuff.
Do you know, can we go a bit deep? Right, I've got a decent question to ask you. Because I agree with you. This is going to go a bit deep. It's going to be off kilter. Talking about, say, quote unquote, ethno nationalism, and we've got, say, quote unquote, the white people need to unite. I understand from your point of view that there's a good proportion of your island that you live on that literally want you dead. So how are you supposed to unite with those people?
Yeah, I can't. It's just not viable. Those people need to. If those people want people like me to get along with them and help them, they're going to have to accept that we exist, and they currently don't. They don't. By the way, Dougie, Cloggy, whatever your name is, it's saying here your devices aren't connected, so I can't bring you on. They don't believe I exist. They have no interest in joining along with me, so therefore I can't join along with them. And it, in the same way that There's multiple countries in Africa, and all those Africans don't get along. There's multiple countries in Europe. There's multiple peoples in Europe, and some of them don't get along. And there's a problem with it's exactly see the people that you see in Antifa round your way and protesting against all sorts of stuff. Well, they're white, so technically you should be going, yeah, we need to get together, boys. But you know what, you can't, because they don't agree with you, they don't believe the same stuff that you do. You're not the same.
But see, the difference, me and DJ, like the difference between we've always got on with each other, but there's a thing with me and him that he is very much of the ethnic, like kind of Scottish, Celtic, whatever you want to, all the different Europeans. I've always tried to be a bit more white, literally white people, but I'm starting to question myself. I know we have all our differences with people. They're coming for us all, and it's literally white people, whatever ethnicity of white that you are, they're coming for all of us. But I want to, like, hopefully resolve. How can we get over this? I don't know if we can get over this, get over it, kind of thing.
Here's the thing. I'm quite happy for those Irish people to live out their life in Ireland. I don't, them being there doesn't upset me. I just want to get along and do my own thing in Northern Ireland. Now, until they get to the stage where they're saying, I don't care what those British people are doing in Northern Ireland, I just want to get along and do my own thing in Ireland, we can't join together, because they haven't got that far. And
would you acknowledge, though, 42, that they are coming for all of us? No matter what ethnicity you are, they're coming for all of us.
Yes, they are coming for all white people. This is right across the whole white Western world. They are coming for all of us. The powers that be do not want any of us here. However, it's bad enough fighting an enemy that's in front of you without the people standing beside you stabbing you in the ribs. That's a genuine problem. You can't you can't have people that hate you in your ranks.
Yeah, you can't have them in the ranks, but one way that we can win as a collective, even if it's oil and water, is to have an issue-based confederation. So if we focus on the issue at hand, so for instance, the people of the Republic of Ireland in the south are dead against mass immigration, as are the people of the north, as are the people of Britain in general, Great Britain in general.
Right. Here's the thing. The people down south that you hear, what about our brothers down south fighting against this? They call the people here, they call this process of immigrants coming in, they call it the second plantation. And they call the first plantation, and they call them planters. And they call the first plantation whenever people move from Scotland and England to Ireland. It's a stream about the plantation. It's not exactly true. It's there's a lot of it's overblown and fake, and they class the people who have been living in Ireland from the 1600s exactly the same as they class the people that are arriving over this week and last week. And everybody that's English looking from outside of this needs to realize that as well, because they don't like you.
Yeah, we do. But the thing is, but you're categorizing. I'm not categorizing. The difference is they don't, irrespective of, you know, the demography of the people who, in their terms, are annexing their country or being replacement in their country. It doesn't matter. The issue is they don't want any more of it, and we all know that the vast majority in the Republic, as well as the rest of Great Britain, isn't European or British emigration. It's from places where, you know, they have even less in common, shall we say, than those people from foreign lands. So yeah, they may consider me moving to Ireland no different to, say, Masambula from Nigeria. The thing is, they don't want any more of it. And on that subject alone, we don't want any more immigration. We can be aligned because
Yeah, if I can be like a little bit controversial here, it's hard for me to say. There's an Irish question. There's an Irish question. The Irish have I've got a not resentment, but
Yeah,
the
you've a
reason
problem.
Liverpool have got
You've
such a shit reputation is because of the Irish contingent. It's the same with Glasgow. There's an Irish question here, and they sort of seem to see themselves as different to the rest of the Europeans. Don't forget, mate, these fucking.
yeah,
If you go back in history far enough, it was them that invaded us far before we invaded them. There's a
yeah.
problem with these people. They've got a serious chip on their shoulder, and I don't know. We're gonna. I'm hopefully we'll unite and fight the in Minecraft the
Yeah,
enemies of Europe kind of thing. But we will have to deal with the Irish question at some point because the Irish are a problem. I'm afraid they are.
yeah. As you were talking about earlier about the Birkenhead drill and stuff in your street, that you've got a problem with the people in Birkenhead, do you not? Is that not where most of the Irish pitched up at?
No, yeah. That's where the word Scouser comes from.
Yeah,
That's literally where Scouser comes from. It was there's a shipyard in Birkenhead. Birkenhead was a shipyard building town. There's a called commemorate, and the word Scouser comes from the Irish immigrants who came over, and that was the food that they ate. That was literally where the word Scouser comes from. I almost feel disappointed, Misa, because there's no Irish in me. I'm literally, people have been taking the piss because I've revealed it recently. I've got like 10% Italian in me. I've done a DNA test. So I'm like 45% Anglo-Saxon, 45% Scottish, and 10% Italian. And I don't know where the Italian comes from, to be honest. It's just a DNA thing. But yeah, the Irish contingent, yeah, it was Birkenhead. They came in. They were the shipbuilders. That's where the word Scouser comes from, the Irish contingent.
Oh, I seen a video last week of the Reformation Parade, the Orange Order going past Anfield. So
If you type into Google, mate, this is interesting. Type into Google Scouse, not English, and all of
yeah,
it. Oh, you won't like this, mate, because you're a Liverpool fan. But all of it
oh
comes up Liverpool FC. None of it
yeah,
Everton, because
yeah,
Everton doesn't do this shit.
yeah. Oh, and it was Anfield that had all the Palestine flags as well.
Yeah,
Oh, and you'll notice a connection. You know, you'll start to see it that the people that support the Scouts, not English, the people the people that are Irish, the people that support Palestine, the people that support quite a lot of all that stuff, they're all the same people.
yeah.
The Antifa people that yous could never actually get on with, whether they're from Liverpool, Manchester, wherever. I'm trying to think of fucking uh, Newcastle.
Kilburn in London.
Yeah, you know those people. The as much as you might say the white people need to collectivize, with a load of people that are white that we cannot collectivize with because they don't like us.
No,
and they
we
don't like
can't. No, yeah, but you might not. Well, put it this way, right?
they don't
If
like white people.
no.
Yeah.
But yes, yeah. But the thing is, right? Those are deluded traitors, and as we mentioned in the stream before, I can't remember who was it, Mark W's or Bobby Cash who said, or Bobby Crush, wherever it is, turned around and said, "Yeah, just wait till the leftards
Yeah,
all realise they were wrong and try and join up with us and fuck them."
Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly right. But once again, for me, I call it the optician test. Yeah. So here's a particular issue. Yeah. And the optician, like, if you imagine you're at the opticians and they say, is it better with or without? With or without. So the next up on the agenda, you've got the transgender story hour shit. Is it better with or without? Well, everybody on our side of the fence is resoundingly it's better without. So is if you look at the shit that's been going on irrespective of what they think of us as a people or whatever, they don't want any more of it either. So if we become issue focused and collectivized on the issue, not the politics of ourselves or our, like I say, what you have to realize is our internal arguments and our internal discussions and our internal struggles, wherever they may be, are downstream of actually being masters of our own fucking countries again. Yeah, and we can never do that unless we collectivize. This is why, if you have one even remote semblance of a right-wing councillor or MP or whatever, so any kind of elected official who pops their head up in an area in, say, West Yorkshire or Southeast or whatever, you literally will see a boatload of Shalwars and a boatload of rainbow people saying, we don't support bigots, and they're all cheering for one another, even though those two fucking groups are oil and water. But they will collectivize because they literally don't want a fucking right-wing person in that position of power because A, they know they don't want those fuckers in this country, and B, they want to stop that degeneracy. So those other two factions hate each other, but they will collectivize over that one issue. And guess what? Their guy gets elected. This is how we have to play until we're in a position stable enough to start asking the questions of, now that we've brushed aside all of the other bullshittery, like the transdemic, like all of the fucking climate bollocks, like all the other bullshit that nobody actually wants, like mass immigration into all corners of Europe, which, if you notice this week, Germany is saying, yeah, we're going to start kicking the fuckers out. And the German, funnily enough, the German, civil service, the snivel service, as I call them, which are just as bad in this country, alongside the judiciary in Germany, are saying, oh, this would take 60 years to even get rid of 50,000. Funnily enough, Pakistan said, yeah, we're going to fuck off all those Afghanis, and there's 1.5 million in the country, and you're out by the end of the month. And they will do it. So if there's a will, there is definitely a way. But if we try and we're the bad bastards. But if you point at Pakistan and say, hold on a minute, they can fucking do it, though, can't they? Oh, well, that's just cultural. Yeah, well, fuck you. We're having a bit of that, you cunts, but we can't have a bit of that unless we stop fucking worrying about X, Y, and Z, because, like I say, that literally is rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic as it's sinking, because at the end of the day, we're all going to fucking drown anyway. So until we collectivize, become a confederacy, an issue-based confederacy. Do you want more fucking immigration? No, I absolutely fucking don't. Right, well, we can get on board with that, and we'll agree with that. Do you want more fucking bumfoolery in the transdem? No, we don't want any of that. Right, well, we can collectivize around that. Because once we displace all of that shit out of the way, then we can start having real discussions about the things that affect us directly. We can have those discussions then. The problem is, all of the fuckers on our side of the fence want those discussions now, and then they shake their heads and wonder, why don't we get anywhere? Because you're too fucking concerned about who's the king dick in this fucking little group and who's the king dick in that little group and who's the king dick in this little group without actually focusing on the fucking issues at hand. And it absolutely leaves me dry. It really does. And I'm not belittling the situation because I understand 42, the situation implicitly. But what I'm saying is when you've got a cunt like Leo Varadkar in power in Ireland, in the Republic of Ireland, you've got a cunt like fucking Humza Yousaf in power in Scotland, you've got an absolute treacherous cunt like Rishi Sunak in London, we can't do fuck all while they are still calling all of the shots. Because while we are still bickering on amongst ourselves, like saying, oh, well, I didn't like what you said about this one or that one, or, you know, this person turned up to this demonstration that we were doing and they were trying to one up our little tiny micro fucking demonstration. Fuck off. If people are going to support what you're doing on the issue level, let them fucking support what you're doing. Does it really matter who's holding the fucking candle? If you get a win once in a while. I'm sorry, mate, like I say, this fucking shit leaves me fucking dry. And then people wonder, you know, why have we not had the same reach since the BNP when Farage came in and destroyed us? Well, because you can't stop fucking infighting, can you little cunts?
But this is it, Sense. I everything you've just said there, I completely 100% agree with you. But I also understand that I can't possibly relate to what the Northern Ireland situation is. The 42 can, and another good example is Croatia and Serbia. There is, you know, in the Balkans. They're another great example of this.
I'm telling you now, right? If there was an African invasion hitting the former Yugoslav nations, yeah, they would hold their fucking nose and say no. Because what's the point of having Balkanized Yugoslav nations that are now fucking African? You've all fucking...
Yeah, just imagine, Sense. Yeah, just like put it in a crazy analogy. Just say say you live on a council estate and there's a council estate next to yours that absolutely 100% positively wants you dead. And like, I agree with you, I want everyone to unite, but this other council estate wants you fucking dead.
Here,
on no uncertain terms. How are you meant to unite with that? It's a really complicated situation.
Not only that, the Irish nationalists in Northern Ireland are pro-immigration. They want more immigration in.
Yeah, the Irish nationalists, mate, the Sinn Féin are a fucking absolute shit show.
I'm talking, this is the problem, you see. Once again, it's all party bollocks. I'm talking about the ordinary people.
Oh, no.
There are ordinary parties in Ireland that have got fuck all to do with Sinn Féin and that, who are campaigning to get rid of, don't want any more fucking mass immigration from third world countries. They don't want any of that bullshittery. They don't get any leverage. They don't get any leeway because they're not part of the regime.
Oh, and they also don't want the border in Ireland.
Yeah, exactly. They don't want that. But what I'm saying is, what point is the border when the whole of Ireland's fucking Africa? These are problems that are downstream of protecting the landmass that is Europe and your homelands from an invasion of third world countries that have nothing involved with this whatsoever.
If we remove that border and we go under an Irish judiciary, we will be murdered.
It's not about the border now. What I'm saying is, but right? So, but the thing is, right? In 3 generations, you're all going to be under fucking Sharia law anyway. Who wins there?
Yeah, you are right, but like, how do you get over that? Like, what's the solution to this?
Because you have to hold your nose and become issue focused, which is exactly how the Muslims and the transgender gay fuckwits can all stand together cheering on to keep a fucking right winger out.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, well, I can't comment. What do you think, 42?
Right, here, I'm going to calm us down a little. I have a wee video to show you. I think you like this. Here we go.
You don't need to calm it down, mate. We're all
No,
friends. We're all
right.
talking
No, yeah.
friendly. Like.
Right, no. Right, sorry. Maybe that was the wrong word. Check this out. So that was the Orange Order, a Protestant organization marching past Anfield that keep on pretending that they're fucking Irish. Thought you would like that.
Yeah, sense. Just to make clear, I absolutely 100% agree with what you're saying, but I can't comprehend what's going. 42 lives in these areas,
Yeah,
and I know
right.
that these. I can't. I just don't know what the solution is. I want what you want. I think they should do this, but
No,
it's
no,
a
I'm not
different
saying they
story when
should
you
do
live there.
anything.
I'll agree. I'll agree with your ideas, but I'll tell you that you need to talk to those other people. It's not me that you need to talk to. It's the people.
Well, the thing is, right, you know, there's militant factions across both things, but the vast majority of the ordinary people who are not politically biased, they all know they don't want any more of this transgenderism. They all know they don't want third world fucking migration, especially from sub-Saharan Africa and Eastern countries, you know, the Islamic countries, for all of the reasons that we are seeing playing out in real time since the current thing occurred on the 7th of October. And like I say, you know, at some point, like I say, you know, the reason why they've managed, and I say they in the real sense, in as much that, you know, all of the foreign contingent, because the foreign contingent, they managed to get the, you know, the waterworks running from the, you know, the liberal libtards that were inveigling all of the institutions, so that you couldn't point out, you know, we don't want these fuckers in positions of power, or bleeding heart liberal feminists will be into the ring there to say, oh, this is disgraceful. And look what happens. Look what happens when they get even any form of semblance of power, or even a, you know, even when they can sense the balance is tipping, not even 50%, you know, 15%, 20%. It's been palpable, even in the last 2 or 3 years, how chippy these fuckers have become across all fucking boards, you know? So if they are getting like that now, and to make it worse, the authorities, particularly the so-called police service, who are, you know, turning a blind eye to all of their kerfufflings, and yet will smash you over the head with a fucking billy club in full riot gear, as we saw with it, like, you know, literally was like 70-year-old pensioners getting one upside the head with a billy club and thrown in the back of a Black Maria for campaigning against lockdowns. That literally did happen. Yeah. Whereas, you know, a couple of months before, BLM fucking kicking off, trying to light fucking flags alight, smashing the shit out of everything. You know, what do they get? They get the rainbow cops taking the knee and, oh, it's just a bit of hijinks. No, it isn't a bit of hijinks. It's not something I'm familiar with. It's not something I want to have to deal with. And basically, as a true British person, rather than a paper Briton, which a lot of these fuckers are, I literally don't want this anymore. Like I say, it's on, you know, people are becoming more and more awakened. But, like I say, it doesn't, you know, there's all this, like when I look on Telegram, you know, everybody's taking the piss out of fucking Tommy Robinson. And then in the next breath, people are taking the piss out of Sargon Akkad. And then in the next breath, people are taking the piss out of this one or that one, or Katie Hopkins or whatever. But there's many an issue that Tommy Robinson talks about. I'd say, yeah, I can get on board with that as an issue. I'm not saying I'm a fucking, you know, a Tommy tard. And I'm not saying, you know, I'm fucking all on board with everything that Katie Hopkins says, because we know where certain allegiances lie. But on certain issues and certain topics, I'd say, yeah, I'm on board with you there. I will support what you're doing in that particular instance. Because I don't want any more grooming gangs to be on. And I don't want people knocking on my door to check my thinking. I'm all on board with that, I may
Well,
not.
my position, which may differ from other people's, my position is, I know it's complicated and it's complicated. My position is white, strictly white Europeans. We're white people. And I know a lot of people disagree with that. I know you disagree with that, but you've got your own issues in your own countries. And we're going to have serious issues with the Irish, as I've just said, the Irish question. And we'll also have a very, very bad issue with the Croats and Serbs, who are also white people. My position is white people, white Europeans. And a lot of people have a bit of trouble with that, but I'll not go back on that position. We're all brothers. I know we all have our fallouts, and I'm white people. They're coming for us.
Yeah, but to me, being white European isn't just quite enough to get you into the club. I need something more like, yeah, you accept my nationality for a start.
Just a quick one though for you, 42, on a sort of a more not theological. What's the word I'm looking for? Like a thinking about
Just
it.
before you make your point,
Philosophical.
One sec, just before you make your point, that's where we disagree. I see it as 100% white European. That's it. Literally. We're all in it together. We're all going to go down the same path unless we unite.
Well, just see unless you get every white European onto that bus, that we're all on it together. I'm not getting on the bus with white Europeans that are not on that. This is a white European thing. This is where I need to sort who I can allow on the bus and not allow on the bus. Are you happy with we're white Europeans? We're in this together because we've got our two choices: are we either hang tight together or get strung up alone, or are you on the thing of you're the wrong type of white European for me, so I want to string you up?
I see us as brothers, and brothers fall out with each other, but we're still brothers. That makes sense. I know that's a very simplistic way of seeing it, but
yes.
Well, I'll just make this one point, and then I've been conscious that obviously Vincent hasn't had a lot. Hasn't been allowed to say a lot. But I'll say this.
Vince is not feeling too well. That's why he's being quiet.
Oh right, okay. But from on a philosophical perspective, do you not think that a challenge such as the ones that we face now could potentially bring us closer together? Just as a theoretical perspective.
If some people could be bothered to actually accept it and decide that they wanted to get closer together, it could. But I've no problem with getting on board with Irish people. They have a problem with getting on board with me.
All of them?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a broadband spectrum. All of them. Yeah.
Right. Yes. Right. Actually, yes, because even the ones who are now down south, squeaking up and complaining about immigration, don't want me in this country. Don't accept me in this country. Don't accept that there are British people in here and that Northern Ireland's a British country. So no, yes, all of them.
But we're going to be at some point. We're going to be forced into a situation where they can't take that viewpoint anymore. Hopefully, anyway.
Well, hopefully they'll wake up to it.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say, because it takes an existential threat such of this nature, where holding your nose becomes the
There are
legitimate and valid option.
there are coastal towns in Northern Ireland that are half Protestant, half Catholic, and they're fishing villages. And there never has been any problems between the British and the Irish in those towns because they had a common enemy of the sea, and it took everybody working together to make sure that the fishermen didn't die. Now, there is that is a fact, and it did happen. Whether or not the people in the Republic of Ireland are going to wake up to the idea that maybe in order to uh, stop the current level of immigration, they need to try to get along with their British people across the border. That they might figure that out, but that's what the holdup is.
No, but you're saying that, mate. There's plenty of people on your side that also can't accept that. Would you agree with that?
I would say that, well, put it this way, there's nobody in Northern Ireland wanting their other three counties of Ulster back. Nobody, not one person. And pretty much everybody in Ireland wants Northern Ireland gone. So there's that. I would evidence this by saying the British people in Northern Ireland are quite content to sit in Northern Ireland. We're happy to get on with people from Ireland if they wish to get on with us. We don't want our three counties that we lost back. The people that were British that lived there are no longer there. They were forced to move further north. Some people would call that a genocide. And we're happy with the status quo of where the border is. The people in Ireland do not believe that there are any British people living in Ireland. They believe that they're all Irish, and all they need to do is remove that border. So there is that.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
You know,
As I said, there's two big. I'll put my point forth, like, and I stand by it. White unite kind of thing. There's two problems in Europe, and it's your area, and it's the Balkans with the Serbs and the Croats and the Bosnians. But
and the problem with the problem in Croatia or the Croats and the Serbs is Kosovo, whenever the people in Kosovo drew the line on the map, they put a bunch of Serbs inside Kosovo. And that's where that problem goes back to. Much the same way as in Ukraine, whenever the people in Kiev drew the
what
map.
do you mean by that, mate? What do you mean?
Right.
The Battle of Kosovo was fought between Turks and Serbs.
Right.
King
Yes.
Lazar. Kosovo is Serbia. They lost that battle, and currently Kosovo is like 95% Albanian. Albanians aren't European, by the way. They're Turks, Arabs.
When those Albanians self-identified Kosovo as a country, I think it was 2009, but it was in and around there. They drew the boundary that had pretty much all Albanians, and they had a small bit round the border with Serbia where ethnic Serbs lived. If they had have drew that border to the other side of where the ethnic Serbs lived, they wouldn't be having a problem now. But they drew the border in that way in order to maintain a conflict on some level. And then what happened was those Serbs were supposed to get like an autonomous area where they had their own mayors and stuff, and they did have that. And it was they ran their own elections.
Yeah, Republika Srpska.
Yeah, yes, they ran their own elections. The area is 96% Serbian, And last year, Kosovo decided that they were going to run the elections. The Serbs boycotted the elections, spoiled their ballots, and it came with there was 4% of the population voted, and they put those mayors into jobs on the basis of the 4% vote. And whenever
Because
they
Albanians are not Europeans.
no, they're not.
Turks, they're basically Turks, and it's currently Kosovo is 95% Albanian, and this is literally the homeland of the Serbians. They fought a battle there. They lost the battle. They fought it for Christendom against the Muslim hordes. King Lazar, I can't remember the year, but it was the Field of Blackbirds, and we accused, the fucking UN and that accused them of committing genocide against them. So
Yep.
if they committed genocide against them, why is that country now 95% Albanians? It's bullshit. And this is the same kind of thing as no.
Yep.
Go on.
It's similar to here, although
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say it's the same kind of thing.
It's similar to here. Now, what I will say is, see, whenever we had the partition in 1921, the deal that was done before the 36th Ulster Division marched off to France to fight in World War One, and the deal that was done was that Ulster would not be part of Home Rule and would remain British. Whenever they did whenever the deal was done and they actually partitioned it, there was 3 counties of Ulster was left inside the Republic of Ireland, and that happened because we wouldn't have had an electoral majority in those 3 counties. So they cut it back. They went on the side of caution, where the areas that were mainly Irish stayed in the Republic of Ireland, which is what they would have, had they been given a free vote and whatnot, they would have chose that. So we erred on the side of caution, and it has made fuck all difference, because the Irish nationalists that were left within Northern Ireland have never accepted the fact that it's over 100 years. They haven't assimilated into Northern Irish society, and neither have they moved to Ireland, which is the country they want to live in. And they've just stayed there and said that they want to make Northern Ireland part of Ireland. The 2-state solution was done here, and it just hasn't been accepted by one side.
It's irritating that people don't know the history of Ulster, and people don't realise that you've been there a lot longer than the Irish have been there. It's so fucking frustrating.
Yeah, we have 7 centuries of history before a Celt was anywhere about the place. That this is not, Ireland is not a Celtic country historically. The Celts are relatively new. And the other thing is, the Celts only held control of Ireland for about 150 years, because not long after they got control, the Vikings come in. And then after the Vikings come in, the Normans come in. Then after the Normans come in, the Tudors came in. There's a period of about 100 to 200 years where this country's been under Celtic rule, but they have mythologized it, and here's the other thing. The Americans accept their story. The rest of the world accepts their story. We have had a really fucked up version of history taught.
Particularly the Americans. The rest of the world sees Ireland as you have stolen these counties in the north, and they don't know the history of it at all. Particularly America. That's how America sees things. You have stolen these counties off Ireland, and you're a people that didn't exist. This is why I sympathise with you so much.
Our people would have more in common with a lot more in common with DJs people than they do with the Celts. And whenever they do the DNA samplings, they you can see that the Ulster and Scotland's DNA is all quite similar, and where the Celts are is different. And the bones of the people down in the Republic of Ireland from pre the ancient bones from pre round about the time of Christ, anything before that has got the same DNA right across Ireland as the Ulster Scots. It's crazy. There's a big burial mound at Newgrange that lights up on winter solstice every year. That thing dates to like 3,000 years before Christ. And they twist themselves up in their history trying to say it's Celtic, but it was there for 2,500 years before the Celts fucking arrived. It's nuts. And see what the Kosovo people did in with the border with Serbia. The Ukrainians in Kiev done the exact same thing with the 4 or 5 different areas that bordered Russia that have forever said that they wanted to be Russian. But the world's all being told that those people are Ukrainian and always were. Ukrainian language is actually relatively new. The Ukrainian language is a fucked up version of Russian that was invented relatively recently. Yeah, relatively recently to try to make a distinction. And the Irish that's currently taught in schools wasn't around until the 1890s.
So, like, just to get back to it, how we can conclude this, how we can resolve this kind of issue. How can it be resolved?
Right.
I'll go back to it again. I think there's an Irish question.
Right.
I've said it and I stand by that. I think there's an Irish question. The Irish fucking piss me off. The Irish have ruined my city. I'll say that strongly. The Irish have ruined my city. And the bad reputation that we get is from the fucking Irish contingent. And it pisses me right off. I might sound a bit biased, like, but it does fucking annoy me. I'm fucking sick of them. I'm sick of the way they can fucking move to areas that isn't their country and make out it their area kind of thing and fucking ruin our identity. It fucking annoys me, to be honest.
See whenever we can figure out how to get English nationalists or English nationalists, proper English nationalists that want England to be a proper English country, right? See whenever we can get them to figure out how they can get along with Antifa, whatever method you use to make that happen, we'll use that for the Irish problem.
Yeah.
It's the same problem. The white people that are in Antifa don't like English people. They don't want it to be England, and they don't like white English people. It's the same problem set, and whatever we can do to solve that issue is the same one that we can use for the Irish issue.
Yeah. Sanson, what do you think, mate?
Well, it's a $64,000 question, isn't it? And I'm not the right person to answer it. Well, like I say, I still think there is margin to be made, certainly as it stands now, when there is an existential threat to all of our homelands, where we can become more issue focused and less focused on individual factions, whether they be parties or whatever, because at the end of the day, what you have to realize is that all of the people who are in charge of our various administrations, whether they're a government, an assembly, or a parliament, whatever you want to call it, they've all got a lifeboat, because they know that when shit kicks off and the worst comes to the worst, they've got a lifeboat to leave to. We haven't. So what are we left with? Are we left with a land mass where we no longer have the population advantage? I don't know, but like I say, it's there's always, I mean, like I say, I always maintain on the right, you know, I say on the left, they can get in bed with fucking herpes, crabs, fucking syphilis, everything, and not mind a thing, because they all go that way.
The reason why they can get on with each other is they all believe whenever they've got rid of us, they'll win the battle between themselves.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So why? But would we?
The Muslims and the communists both believe they will win the battle between the Muslims and the communists, and that's why they can get on with each other.
But how is that different? How is that different to what we're doing? And like I say, you know, when they fight their battle, we're already extinct. So how is that a win for us?
No, I'm not saying it's a win, but
what my argument, the other thing that I come back to once again, is in the time of an existential threat, that oftentimes can forge bonds and forge relationships that would have been unthinkable in the past. And I think that that's going to be one of those times. And like I say, the problem is, which is what they're talking about now, you know, the people like Academic Agent are talking about, well, we'll never be rid of the Tory party until the boomer contingent die off, because they're the only people who fuel this idiocy and, you know, the boomer truth regime and all that, which in a certain extent is true. I don't see that as being any different. The problem is that the younger generation of our stock is dwindling and being replaced by a stock that is completely and utterly 100% hostile to, irrespective of our differences. They don't care. You might think that you're different. You know, you've set out your stall very well as to why everything's different, as to why they hate you, and you know why you're amicable to a cohesion which they might not be. But the others, in other words, the external, the outer, those from without, they don't see you as any different. They see you as exactly the same problem to be removed. So when we are sat here talking about, oh, well, yeah, but, you know, it's just communism versus, you know, Islam or whatever, fair. And they're only getting to bed with one another because at the end of the day, they'll just duke it out once we're all gone. We're still all fucking gone. But in the process of preventing us from not being gone, like I say, which is an existential threat, bonds can be forged, and they can be forged from the newer people, you know, the younger generations, the people who may not, and for rightly so. You know, I'm not saying we should be so easily bereft of memory, but what I'm saying is, it comes, you know, this is when they were talking about, you know, if there were aliens to turn down tomorrow, the entire world would get together and rally around one another because we're fighting an existential threat against aliens. And there is some truth in that. I just think they want to weaponize that potential thing, which is a nonsense anyway. You know, don't disregard the fact that, you know, the fact that alien life is a very real possibility any alien life that may be anywhere near close or remotely close to being able to get anywhere near us, not going to happen probably before our species becomes extinct, or maybe even before our planet expires when our sun turns into a red dwarf and we get evaporated along with pretty much most of the solar system. What I'm saying is that, in times of those kinds of struggle, even though there have been those, like I say, there's nothing I can say that won't make it sound diminutive of the various struggles, of the various different people. And it's no different in the Balkans. It's no different in the north and south of Ireland. We're obviously been relatively well protected from those kind of things being on the mainland. But you see these patterns emerge all the time, and it's only when you are faced with an existential threat that something generally changes. I mean, if you look at the Carthaginians, they held sway because they were a seafaring nation. Rome wasn't a particularly seafaring nation; it was a wealthy nation, but they kept on getting tapped off by the Carthaginians, who were a very strong seafaring nation, and the various factions. What became the foundations of the Roman Empire said, I'm pretty fucking fed up of these cunts in Northern Africa rocking up and just pillaging and doing what the fuck they want because they've got a tidy navy. So they got together, even though there was massive differences between those various peoples, they weren't even a single nation back then. It was still fragmented, or various fragments of the former Greek Republic, various factions of Macedonia, various factions of the Venusians. There were all these different types of people. And it was only when they said, we really need to do something about this, that they got together. Yeah, that became the foundation of the Roman Empire. But it took something that was an existential threat to them for them to stop thinking, well, yeah, this fucker on the village over the road here, or the town over the road, or over there, he's a bit of a cunt and I hate him and I want him dead. But as it stands right now, we've got a bigger fish to fry. And when they fought in battle against the Carthaginians, they formed a proper navy, became a seafaring nation of their own right. At that point in time, when the tide turned and they'd stood together in that moment of existential crisis, bonds were forged and they last for hundreds of years, and I don't see how saying that, oh, well, they're happy to get in bed with one another because when they win overall, then they'll battle it out. We're still fucking gone. We don't win. We don't get to have that battle between ourselves because we're already fucking gone. So
this is what I mean, mate. I think that most of Europe, as you say, I think that most of Europe in the end will unite. But I do think there's an Irish question. There's just these people there who've got an inferiority complex because they've been living next door to the Anglo-Saxons, and they just cause trouble wherever they fucking go. They've got this weird little outsider group kind of mentality about them. And I think that the Irish question is going to have to be confronted at some point. I think that the rest of us can unite, but it's just these fucking weirdos. I genuinely think that. I just think that
I'm not expecting us to unite.
Here, right? How long has there been an Irish contingent in Liverpool? 3-4 generations.
Yeah, about that.
Right. Are they still calling themselves Irish, or are they calling themselves English?
Yeah, fucking Scouse, not English. They start calling themselves now.
Right.
They've took on our identity and separated themselves.
They refuse to integrate. And
they see themselves as a different thing. They've got an inferiority complex. And I do, I'm sorry to say it, the N-words of Europe. Since I'm not saying everything you just said there was correct, but these people are like the N-words of Europe. They've got an issue they've just got an issue, and they need to be. It's going to have to be questioned at some point. I think the rest of us can. eventually unite and do something about what's going on, but they never will because they're just fucking ridiculous.
You're currently talking to the people who would be amenable to your argument, Sanson. The problem is whenever you try to take that to the other side.
Well, all I would say is,
Streaky Bacon has said get an Irish streamer on as a guest. I would welcome.
That would be brilliant.
I would welcome somebody on. The one thing is, I don't know anyone. Anybody wants to tell them to
No, because none of them would speak to you.
Yeah.
So hold on a minute. I don't think that's true. So you're saying that somebody like a Dave Cullen or a Thomas Sheridan wouldn't speak to you? I don't think that's true at all.
Well, maybe so.
I would say probably David Cullen, not but.
I don't know who these people are, to be fair.
Right, I would say Dave Cullen probably no, because I've got 525 followers, and he's got like I don't know, 100,000, whatever it is.
I'm not. That's you know that's you're talking about YouTube there. But you made that broadband statement that nobody would want to speak to me.
Right.
I'm not talking about YouTube. So you're saying that nobody in Southern Ireland would talk to you?
No, sorry, Sense. That was me that said that. 42 did say that. That was me.
I'll tell you what. See if anybody can find a streamer from the Republic of Ireland from that nationalist movement. And by the way, Rags knows a hell of a lot of them that's willing to come on and talk to me. I'd be surprised, but we'll have that conversation.
That'd be a great stream.
And by the way, tell them they're coming on to talk to a unionist.
Yeah, but exactly. And what I'm saying is, Rags knows a load of them.
Yep.
But they're not going to be representative of the moderate voice, and the moderate voice is the majority.
Well, they have set themselves up as the voice of the moderate.
Answering this question, and I'm being honest to seriously, you know, I'm straight down the middle. Me, I'm not a fucking idiot. You know, I don't play games, right? But straight down the middle. You know, Dave Cullen. You know, Computing Forever, yeah.
Yes.
You telling me that you think that, I mean, ignore who's got the biggest dick when it comes to YouTube subscribers, yeah? Do you think that you could not have a reasoned conversation with a Dave Cullen, who is from the Republic of Ireland?
I don't think it would be the reasoned conversation that you think it would be. I think it would break down a hell of a lot quicker.
I don't know who this fella is, by the way.
Computing Forever.
Yeah, Computing Forever.
I don't know who he is.
Yeah, Computing Forever believes that there should be no British people on this island.
Yeah, but what I'm talking about, when you look at all of the videos and all of the stuff that he's been doing of late with regards to, same with Keith Woods, with regards to the invasion of, you know, third worlders into Ireland.
And he keeps on saying this is worse than the plantation we had before.
Yes,
I'm a bit of a boomer.
Nobody can get past that fact. You're missing the point. The point is you can't replace. You're not replacing one. You're not replacing.
Very heavy conversation you've been having. I'm glad I'm not feeling that well, to be honest. Sorry.
Here's the thing. I'd be willing to have the conversation. If anybody can find somebody from down there that's willing to have the conversation, and by the way, they need to make it clear that they're coming on to talk to an Ulster Unionist. I don't want it to be misconstrued. They're coming on to speak to an Ulster Unionist that's against immigration and against the LGBT takeover of our schools and our institutions and all that, but happens to be an Ulster Unionist. Anybody finds one that knows any of them, I'd be quite happy to have them on. I don't know whether or not they'd be happy to turn up.
Once again, you're making a qualification.
No, I'm not.
You're making a qualification that's abject to the
No.
point that to
No.
the
Uh,
issue that we would be campaigning
No.
against.
No. All I'm saying, I'm not saying they have to agree with false unionism. They just have to know that it's unionists that they're coming to talk to.
Yeah, can I make a point quick, lads? I will. I'll make a point here. I would love for you, 42, to speak to someone on the other side. A few months ago, like 6 months ago, ages ago, you made a point to me where I was saying that I wasn't very happy about black crime, and you said that that's just your personal experience, so you may be biased. But why
I,
isn't your personal experience
right,
bias kind of thing?
right, Toffee, first of all, I don't remember saying that. I'm not saying that it didn't.
You said that I might have anger issues because of my own personal bias. I'm not having a go, mate. I'm just saying it was just a point, just to keep it like
Yeah. Oh no,
consistent.
no, no. It's fine. All I'm saying is I can't remember the conversation. Right.
Consistency. You should get someone on. If you, yeah, it would be great
Yeah.
if you. It would be wonderful to be a 42. 42 can fucking handle his own, mate.
Yep.
If he can get someone on from the other side, that'll be brilliant.
I would love to have someone on from the other side. I don't think they're going to come.
Well, that would be their loss. And like I say,
Yeah.
if they, at the end of the day, we all know what's coming. We all know what's going to happen.
I'll tell you what I do know. I tell you what I do know. I was supposed to be at one point on a panel show that Rose Ireland was going to be on, and it's probably
Rose Allen never turns up. She was meant to be on fucking Rags the other day, and she never came on.
Oh, is she a regular no show?
Probably stage fright, isn't it?
No, well,
Maybe.
yeah, it's just sort of, it's possibly nothing to do with it, but whenever she say the thumbnail come out, and the thumbnail had me on it as well, and all of a sudden she couldn't make it.
She looks pretty from her profile pic. Sorry to be.
I haven't said that. I haven't watched very much of her stuff. You know,
Shrieky said he's met her a few times. That's right.
I haven't watched any of it. All I will say is if the people in the South, you know, are not.
Oh, to be fair, Rose Ireland isn't from Ireland; she's from Northern Ireland.
Yeah, no, but that irrespective of that, what I'm saying is if people from the South, if they're not receptive to an issue-based confederacy or coalition, whatever you want to call it, on threats that are existential threats, then there will be at some point across the wider Europe. You know, we're seeing it happening already in the likes of Germany. We're seeing time and time again in Holland, you know, their nefarious administrations trying to put the hammer down on any of their people speaking out. Sweden is now an active basket case, and they look like they are going to turn very right wing. It would be wonderful if France would do the same. But at some point, and like I say, Germany are going to be doing repatriations. They've started to talk about this shit, and this isn't this. These are not the Uncle Addy Austrian painter Mark II people. These are the ordinary MPs that are saying, yeah, we really need to start looking into repatriation back to their nation states, because it is catching on. Because, like I say, the people who have been pulling the strings of governments around the world, particularly the globalists, ordinary people are now realizing, hold on a minute, so we've had our guard down for a long time, and now we can see that unless we put our guard up, we're going to get sucker punched without even throwing a blow of our own, and we're just going to get blitzed. So at some point there will be whether it's a hold your nose or not, a coalition of European peoples outside of the European Union, that'll disappear like a fart in the wind, because the European Union, as we know, is one of the main driving factors that is causing all of this shit on us in the first place. And we all know where the European Union is getting its orders from. And the European, like I say, you've got the individual governments in power who are about 4 levels away from the real power structure. And that will be the same with the likes of the European Union. So you will find that more and more issues, particularly when it comes to immigration, particularly when it comes to societal issues, will be breaking away from the European Union. And the Europeans say, "Oh well, we'll find you, and we'll do this, and we'll do it." And they say, "Well, you know what? Fuck you. We're just not going to play your Ponzi scheme European Union bullshit. We're just not going to play games anymore." And that'll disappear I hope, would disappear like a fart in its own wind. But at some point, and it's going to happen. It's going to have to happen soon, because obviously we haven't got time to wait anymore. It's a critical mass. We are facing an existential crisis, which basically is the survival of our peoples, literally in the literal sense. There will be coalitions, and unfortunately, any one nation. So if the Southern just don't want to play ball because the North Island because the Great Britain, if you like, the United Kingdom, however you want to say, is all part of that coalition. Oh, well, we're not going to play ball with that. Well, your country will get ransacked by foreigners. And then when our coalition hopefully holds sway of power, we'll eject all those fuckers out. But unfortunately, you'll have already been ejected. So who of your people is there to replace them if you've already been ejected because you didn't want to play ball when you faced that existential crisis in the first place? And it's not just in Europe. The same is happening in North America. Asia, Eastern Asia, for very good reasons, namely China, is relatively unscathed from all of this problem. Plus, also, none of their institutions have been inveigled the same way that North America and European institutions have been by certain qualities of certain people who are now ruined the day they did that because they're not getting the fucking support they expected due to the current thing. All I will say is, like I say, no one nation can be an island now. The notion that Britannia rules the waves, or the Dutch Empire of the 1700s, blah blah blah, Portuguese Empire, they just can't exist anymore because it's been absolutely cracked away. So the only way we can get along is by forming coalitions. And let's face it, no two nations have been embattled or have been embittered against one another than what we have with France, starting with the Norman conquest, and then through all of the 100 Years' War, the bloody Napoleonic Wars, blah blah blah, all the way through to the Entente Cordiale, and we still take the piss out of our French cousins, but at the end of the day, they still are our European cousins. And they are facing the exact same existential threat. When you look at Paris is a mirror image of London. They know what the score's going to be. And I just think there's going to be a shift. And those countries of those peoples who are dead against this continuing, they will form allegiances, whether or not it's intragovernmental or extra-governmental. Because like I say, if the governments won't do the will of the people, they then become an illegal government, and therefore extra government activities have to take place. We have to, like what the Czechs did. The Soviet Union was supposed to be holding sway over the Czechs, and Czechs says, "You know what? Fuck you. We're just going to do our own thing anyway. We're going to make our own currency. We're going to do our own thing. We're not going to listen to any fucking thing that you cunts are doing." Right, we're just going to go our own way, and I think that'll be across the boards in many, many European states. And any state that decides, well, we can't hold our nose, we're not going to get into bed with them, and we're not going to form part of that coalition, well, they'll get wiped off the face of the map. You know, they will be replaced. That's an inevitability. So that is the reason why, you know, as it stands right now, and we haven't got time to afford to wait to you know, procrastinate anymore. You know, it's going to have to be now. And I think I would like to think that there's a sensum McCommunum in the southern of Ireland who thinks the same way as I do. That's just my hope, anyway.
Yeah, 100% agree with you, Sense. It's so fucking complicated. Suppose this you can say better than me. I can just imagine your situation that you're in there now. As I've said, I'm strictly white people. Fuck ethnicities. I'm about white people. But say we've got, yeah, in Fazakli, we've got a little brook that separates my estate from another estate, and say that other estate absolutely wants me dead. How are we meant to unite with that estate? I'm saying that as like a kind of hypothetical thing. I want to know the answer. How can we? I want to unite with them, but how can you?
See, here's the thing. If it came to the point where you needed to block off all the entrances to your state, right? Go, right, that's it, we're doing this. We're going to get we're going to get cars, we're going to put them across the entrance, we're going to barricade it off, we're going to dig up the concrete so we've got bricks to throw, we're going to defend this area. Are the people from the next state over going to A, help you, or B, decide here, this is a great idea, let's extend this border and put it around the two estates? Because see, if it's not, we're going to extend this and put it around the two estates, or it's no, actually, we're going to help whoever who's coming to try and put you out.
Yeah. Good question then. Say you put up your barricades. What's going to happen when an outside force comes into your estate that wants you both dead? What's going to happen then?
Well, one of the two groups is going to end up dead. One of the two groups isn't going to be there anymore.
You wouldn't unite.
Well, this is the thing. What you're looking for is the next estate over to try and come and help you about against some outside threat. But if the people from the next estate over are like, no, we're going to join with the outside threat, then you've got a problem.
What are you saying that the nationalists, quote unquote, would be?
Right. The problem, the real problem is, right, I've got a slightly smaller problem than you because I'm going to probably guess inside your state there's a certain amount of people that don't like the people in your state.
See, this is the thing, mate. Like as I just said earlier, you've
Like,
said to me before that I've got like a
right, no,
like
well,
a lived experience where I don't like certain people, but you
yes.
don't like certain people.
Oh, fuck yes, I totally agree with that. That I have a very strong in-group preference for Ulster Unionists. Now, I think that I could be wrong in this, but I think that in the average housing estate in Liverpool, you've got a mixture of people who would be on the English national side of things and people that would be on the Antifa side of things. Am I correct?
Not really. No, we're sort of apolitical. Most of the rougher states are apolitical. It's not really like that.
Right. Uh, so the people that are on those Antifa marches and all, they're not from the housing estates.
No, not at all. The people that were on these Antifa shit aren't from the fucking middle class gimps.
Right. Then your housing estates have got a chance, because those housing estates will band together against an outside threat, because they don't have that divide. Your problem's going to be in the 3-bedroom semi-detached fucking leafy
Like
boroughs.
honestly, it's really not like the same situation as Northern Ireland. Like our council estates are mainly just rough fucking. Like the South End, I live in the North End. The South End is a little bit more Catholic, and the North End is more Protestant. So it's we're not super religious, but we've got our own schools and whatnot. But
Yeah.
it's not really religiously divided like that. We're just like rough. The people on the estate who are just rough scallies kind of thing. It's not really that kind of thing.
Mm.
You said to me though before, mate, and I remember it on the stream. You said that I was whinging about fucking. I didn't like fucking. It was a bit of a black thing, and you
Oh, well,
specifically said that might
oh,
be your own lived experience. And I
right.
thought,
Oh,
well, that's your own lived experience.
yeah. Well, I'll tell you what I do know. If I'm putting up a barricade and I've got a choice of the white Irish nationalist that wants to hit me over the back of the head with something the first time I'm not looking, and a black person who is third generation paratrooper, I'm picking the black person in that situation.
They smashed our city up. You've heard of the Toxteth riots?
Yeah.
They literally smashed our fucking city up. They were all confined into Toxteth for years and years, and then they came and just completely ruined our city. And you said to me that it might be just your personal lived experience.
No, see, to be totally honest with you, I'll tell you how much I know about the toxic rats. And this is my whole total knowledge about it, right? The first time Robbie Fowler seen a horse was whenever a policeman on a horse went past him during the toxic rats. That's the start, middle, and end of everything I know about it. So please tell me what happened.
Well, the little rats, they were confined to Toxteth
Right, hold on.
because they,
Was toxic the black area?
yeah, Toxteth's the black
Right,
area.
right. Toxic
It's
was the
just,
black area.
yeah, it's like a mile out of the center of the city. And the,
Right,
oh, mate, it'll get
right,
racial.
right.
I'm not,
Okay.
I'm not sure
Right.
you're very racial.
I'm going to say this for you. Right. So you've got an area that is black, and they had arguments with the police, and then they started a riot, and then that riot moved further out into the city.
Yeah, they
Right.
weren't allowed into the city centre because they caused trouble. They come into town. Oh, mate. They come into town. These people, it's going to have to get a bit racial here, mate.
Right. But
They feel like they don't have to pay on the doors. They'll come in, they cause trouble, they commit crime. So there was a point for years and years where they weren't allowed into town. If they come into town, the blacks, they got chased out because they just caused trouble. So they got to a
right,
certain point where they literally caused a riot because they didn't like not being allowed to not commit crimes. And then Liverpool has just turned into this fucking shithole because they used to stick to their own area, Toxteth, and they weren't allowed out of it because we wouldn't accept it. The criminals, these people, the statistics speak for themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, it's similar to what happens in Belfast, where people stick to their own area, and whenever they don't be in their own area, then shit happens. And how long did the toxic riots last?
Good while, like 20 days, I think it was.
Mm.
It was there was ridiculous amounts of assaults, police officers injured and whatnot, and there was even people that came out and said we'll go
You
against
have
the
it?
riots and stop the riots, but the
Oh,
police said nah, stand down.
yeah.
One of the
Yeah.
worst riots in the country.
Yeah, one of the worst riots in England.
We couldn't go into it, mate, unless we
Yeah,
got
I know.
racial, and it's a
Yeah.
bit. It's yeah,
Yeah, I know. We're getting into
yeah.
the
It's
the,
too much,
the,
that, mate.
the one thing about YouTube is see, the longer you go into a live stream, the less it gets censored and the less it's likely to be picked up for anything. But yeah, that looks like it would be.
No,
we're-
I wouldn't be willing to talk about what I
yeah,
think about
no,
it. That's all.
yeah. There's some things that are best kept for private.
Aye.
We'll have a chat someday about it whenever it's not online. Like I say, I didn't know. Here's how little I know about it. Right, I didn't know there was a racial element to that. I just knew that there was rats.
They literally were not allowed into town up until that point because they
By
come
the
in, they don't
by the
pay
public.
on the doors, they cause trouble, they cause. No, sorry,
Yep.
just a
Mm,
fact. They were literally kept in that area. Toxteth were all full of blacks. They couldn't go out of that area, not because of they like there was some kind of No, yeah, because they couldn't. If they come out, they got dealt with because they were trouble. It's just a fact.
and then they come out en masse.
And then they come out en masse. It's like, how dare you not allow us to commit crimes?
Mm, yeah. Very not good.
Oh. Anyway, guys, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but A, I'm busting for a while, and B, I've
Yep.
got to be up early in the morning. So
Yeah.
if you don't mind, lads, I'm going to duck out and.
I'm.
All right, let's.
Yeah, we're going to wrap this up
Oh.
because we're now 3.5 hours in, and
Oh,
it's
right,
2 o'clock in
okay.
the morning.
Yeah, anyone who hasn't listened to this stream, mate, it's highly recommended. Fucking hell, we went into some deep shit there.
I'll be recommending it, that's for sure, because it's like I say,
Anyway.
the discussions that we should be having.
No, it
Because
is exactly. When people say you're getting all fucking argumentative, we're all gentlemen. We can all speak to each other. Disagreement or not disagreement, we're all gents.
Well, there we go. I've learned something tonight.
it's not disagreement, it's an understanding of each other's perspective. There's a mile of difference between arguing and trying to understand the other person's perspective. That's where I'm coming from on this one, because I can't comprehend, because we haven't lived that experience, Toffee, and I've not lived the Toxteth experience, so I've got nothing to compare it to. I've got nothing to compare it to with 42's experience. So I'm coming at it from an outsider's view looking in. But all I can do is suggest, well, if I was going to try and sort things, this is the way I would go about it. You know, and maybe that's misguided, maybe it's naive, but unless we ask these questions and we postulate these potential solutions, we end up going nowhere whilst everybody else makes ground on us. Do you see what I mean? So
Yeah. So I hope everyone who listened realizes we're all good friends. It's all.
Yep.
We're
No,
all good.
there was no argument had here.
No.
This was not an argument. This was a discussion.
Yep.
You know, it's and
We're all gents. Thank you, gentlemen. I'm gonna have to take me fucking soft ass dog out for the piss. I
right,
love you.
okay.
Thank you for speaking. I will speak to
Yep.
you soon, gents.
Coffee, thank you very much for coming on. Very much appreciated.
So all that.
Right, all the best. Vincent, do you want to say anything before we go?
So I just feel like someone's kicked me in the stomach, so that's why I haven't been
Yeah.
able to say anything really. I feel a bit better, but you know, it keeps coming back, sort of remnants of food poisoning.
Have
Anyway,
you got a
don't
dose
go
of the
into it.
scours, mate?
Eh? No, I'd have to
Have you
take
got
an
a dose of the
anti-diarrhea
scours?
tablet. I used to like that milk of magnesia, but you can't get that anymore.
No,
I
they
think-
probably outlawed it because it worked.
Not in the shops. Yeah, exactly. They want you to be a bit sick. So maybe I should take some honey and milk and honey or something natural.
Yeah.
Just go to sleep. But yeah, it was from some mints. I don't think it was kept in the fridge properly when I bought it from one of those SO garages, Tesco place, you know, Tesco Metro thing. So don't trust it, man. It's fucked me up. Anyway, say no more. Next time I'll make sure I'm all right.
Yeah. Have a good one, mate.
Yeah. Take it easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
All right, Sansom, anything you want to say before you go?
Yeah, next Saturday is it's the Armistice Day next Saturday, so probably be streaming. Usual time again next week. And all I would say of anybody who's heard about the various so-called scheduled protests for the current thing, if you're on our side, don't get involved, because that's exactly what the regime wants you to do. You know, don't busy yourself, because they won't come down and hammer the belligerents on something that should be happening in the Middle East, not in London. They'll come down on you and point you out to be all of the names under the sun yet again. So please avoid that if you can next week.
Are these protests supposedly planned for this week or next week?
No, it's for Saturday. So on Armistice Day, Remembrance Sunday is on Sunday.
Right. I'm going to make this really easy. See that cenotaph on Armistice Day? There's thousands of soldiers at it.
That's on Remembrance Sunday. So Armistice Day is the Saturday. So there may not be the same number of people there, although there is a ceremony that usually is held, a smaller ceremony, because Remembrance Sunday is always the second Sunday of November, and that's written in stone.
Yeah.
So it's only on very rare occasions when the dates align, get Armistice Day and Remembrance Sunday on the same day.
My advice to everybody is it's the army's job to protect that.
Yes.
Leave it the fuck alone. Don't be getting involved in it. Don't go out. Don't go down there. Don't be Jekyll Hyde. You don't need to be. And if something does happen, then maybe we'll get what should be done, which is a permanent army presence of it. So just let it happen.
Yeah. Like I say, you know, whether your intentions are pure, you know, and righteous, you just know what the BBC and the Guardian and the police force will do. You will be public enemy number one. You will be cast in the worst light possible. Yes, nobody wants to see it happen, but at the end of the day, you're not doing the cause any good.
We've got a professional police force. We've got a professional army. Let's see if they want to step up and do their job.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I 100% agree with that. So, like I say, that's going to happen before we stream next Saturday. So hopefully it will go without incident. Anyway, cheers, mate. Thanks for letting. Like I say, you had a pretty quiet mic. I thought I'd pop on and say hello. I think we've had a pretty fucking great stream. If you don't mind me saying, I think we've covered some important subjects tonight. So, yeah, thank you.
Really, really good conversation. Thank you. Thank you. And with that, I'm going to get the outro up. And there we go. Sansom, if you want to run off, don't
Yeah,
feel
I'm
like you have
busting, mate.
to.
I really am. Thanks,
Yep.
mate. And thank you, everybody in the chat. And God bless you all. And I'll speak to you in the week. Take care, mate. Thanks again, mate.
Okay.
Cheers.
Yes, all
Bye
the best,
now.
mate. And talk soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hello, this is 42 speaking. Welcome to the Resistance. You are not alone, and we shall walk this journey together. What about you, Sean? If one brings a guitar and one brings a voice, then they stand together and make their own choice. Let us gather together those that can perform, and from the scarred timbers build our own platform. We're from that grand house they tried to burn down. There's gold in the ashes if you look around. Let us gather together those that can perform, then from those scarred timbers build our own platform. Build our own platform. We will sing words of wisdom. We will sing world harmony, melody, and rhyme. We descended from minstrels in old days of yore. We will create a culture as we did once before, forced to stand by as our country was sold. Did you really think we'd leave that story untold? So one brings a guitar and one brings a voice, then they stand together and make their own choice. They have seen the future, the way forward is clear. Among us still stands a modern day Shakespeare. They have seen the future, the way forward is clear. Among us still stands a modern day Shakespeare. Forced to stand by as our country was sold. Did you really think we'd leave that story untold? We will sing words of wisdom. We will sing we will sing harmony, melody, rhyme. Harmony, melody, and rhyme. So one brings a guitar and one brings a voice, then they stand together and make their own choice. I have seen the future, the way forward is clear. Among us still stands a modern day Shakespeare. With power and wealth, you control the mainstream, but you never realized you could not kill a dream. So we will gather together those that can perform, and from the scarred timbers build our own platform. You're talking to 42. What about you, Sean? If one brings a guitar and one brings a voice, then they stand together and make their own choice. We will sing sing words of wisdom. We will sing for all time. We will sing for our people. Harmony, melody, and pride. We will sing words of wisdom. We will sing for all time. We will sing for our people with the ancient trilogy of harmony, melody, pride. We create large society through normally golden tribes. The gods of water, earth, and land brought us through the land. The earth, the moon, the sun, each became a deity, independent parts of another trilogy. Is it a coincidence or is it just a blind that we might bring you excellence in harmony, melody, and pride? With power and wealth, you control the mainstream, but you never realized you could not kill a dream. You cannot kill a dream. And we shall walk this journey together.
And Sally, there's another song in the works, a collaboration with Justice Kane. It's a bit weirder than this one, but it's going to be class as well. Right. The guests have been the guests, Sansom, Toffee, Vincent Griffin. Thank you all very much for coming on. I've been 42, and you lot in the chat have been, as always, fucking amazing. Thank you very much. Good night. God bless. And we'll see you all next week. I'm out of here. Go on.